I see some people on Facebook. I see a
I'm
lot
gonna
of
do an
people here.
ask. I'm gonna do a separate one that says "Ask me anything" tweet.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Who do we have on YouTube live chat? I see Marge. I see Beach. I see Judy. I see Azad. Azad Mufakir. Um, Free thinker? Is that what? Oh yeah, that's Azad Mufakir means free thinker. Am I right? Yeah. Yeah, okay. So His Holiness is here as well. Anybody on
His
Facebook?
Holiness.
Yeah, His Holiness. That's his name. His or her. Yeah, his name.
I like it.
Casey is here. KCA, Randy. Hello, peoples. So how's our audio? Is everything okay? Everything good?
Yeah, I haven't. Can you hear it?
I'm
Oh,
just
hold on.
asking
Let me
the
mute
people in the live
this.
chat. How's our idea? We're gonna answer your questions. Oh, hi, Mike. Mike is here. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, can you hear us? Testes,
Bye, everything
testes.
is saying hi. Send us your questions. I saw. Are you saving the questions because there are a whole bunch of questions
Yeah,
up?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I asked
Okay.
everybody to tag us, so let me know. We're good. It's
Audio is
9:29.
peach. Thank you, Azad.
Mm.
Audio is loud and clear. Mars is saying. Moose is saying hi, Armin and Ali. Hi, Moose. Long time no see. Okay, this is great. This is good. Let's just get started.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Secular Jihadists for a Muslim Enlightenment. My name is Ali Rizvi, and with me, back from his travels, is Armin Navabi. Armin, welcome back.
Hi.
We've missed you.
Thank you.
We've missed you, but we had a pretty good time without you in the past. There were two episodes where I spoke to Courtney Hurd, who's Godless Mom.
Yes.
We had an episode about parenting without religion,
That one
raising
is
kids without
already
religion.
available to patrons right now.
Yeah,
Wait, did it?
it's going to come
Oh,
out.
no. Yeah. Actually, no. But they're
I think
both.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
And then
Uh.
the second one we had was with Janice Selby, who's a therapist who has a special interest in religious trauma. So she actually deals with it. She's also an ex-fundamentalist Pentecostal Christian,
Right. Right.
and she used to wear the hijab. So that was a really interesting thing because like the Bible very clearly says that women should cover their hair
Right.
compared to the Quran where it's a little more ambiguous. So it was kind of interesting to hear her talk about that. But yeah, check out those two episodes if you're a patron. And speaking of that, go to patreon.com/sjme if you want to contribute to this podcast. If you like what you hear, then you can do so for as little as $1 a month. You can just set your maximum limit there. And if you don't, then if you're a patron, you also get access to video conversations of everything. You get access to all kinds of other cool stuff. But if not, please
Share.
share this on your
Share.
social
Share. Share.
media. Give us reviews on iTunes. That really helps feature the podcast to people who may not know about it. And once we get to 500 patrons,
Right.
and we're still working towards it, we're getting there. We are going to start translating these podcasts into the languages where a lot of our audience is, which is in the Muslim world. So in Urdu, in Farsi, in Arabic, and in
Arabic will be first.
Malay, Indonesian.
Arabic would be first. I think the second one would be
Because
Urdu.
that's the language of Allah. That's why.
Allah, yes. Urdu
Allah.
and I'm thinking to go Indonesian third. So yeah, please help us pay for the translations. The Patreon money mostly right now is being spent on the people behind the scenes that do the technical stuff and the editing and the social media marketing. So because of you guys, that's all possible. So the next time we hit 500, then we're gonna hire. Wait, I'm out of focus now. We're gonna hire the translators once we get to 500. Anyways, thank you. Thank you so
We
much.
were.
All right. Cool.
It's going to be really cool. Yeah, the Zionists can only fund so much of this.
Yes.
And the CIA, of course.
Yeah.
And anyway.
No, the Zionists want to support us more, but they want to see that they want to see that your financial support shows them that this is working, right? The Zionists are smart with their money. They're just not going to they're not like the Saudis that just throw money at something, right? They want to see that you have grassroots support, and then they're going to invest in your project, right? If we had Saudi support, that would be easy because they don't check. They just throw money at stuff, and we would.
Did you want to also talk about about how they control the media? I mean, how many more? Do you want to throw out any more tropes?
Well, we're media.
Just
We're,
asking.
like the Zionists are controlling. They're they are smart with the media because they realize that traditional media is not where it's at. They have to support
Yeah.
independent media. So Zionists are being smarter. That's why they're supporting us.
In case you just tuned into this right now and heard Armin talk about Zionists, by the way, we get a lot of accusations of being supported and funded by the CIA and the Zionists and Mossad and all of these things. So that's why we're talking about it. I hate explaining this, but we do live in this idiocracy right now in the world. So I have to explain that, we're being sarcastic, unfortunately. But in any case, let's move on. So today is an Ask Us Anything episode. We did one of these after a long time at the end of last year. And everyone loved it.
Yeah, I love these. I
loved
enjoy hanging, just chilling out with our audience and just like talking to them. And
it's fantastic.
It's less formal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool because it also gives us an idea of the kind of things that you're interested in, what you're tuning into in the world and what topics, what's going on. So we're going to start with the first question. It's a little bit of a personal one for you, for Armin, for Armin, for you from Beej. And Beej is asking, did Armin move from Canada because of threats?
That was one of the 5 reasons. But some of them are personal, yeah. But there was some element to them, but it wasn't the main reason. But it was one of the reasons that helped made the decision easier.
Okay, okay, there we go. So that's the first question. Now the second question comes again from Beej, and Beej is saying, it's like, your thoughts on Australian Aboriginals wanting a law to keep Christians from coming into their land to convert them, and will you sign a petition to show support?
No, I'm for freedom of expression. I hate the ideas, but you can't just stop. Like, oh, we don't like your ideas, so we're gonna not let you in. Like, what the hell? Like, you cannot stop people's ideas from flowing. In fact, I mean, what the hell? They can't do that. Like, what?
If they're converting them with a sword at gunpoint or something, that's different. But
wait,
don't convert.
Wait, what do you mean?
He's saying that there's Christians that are coming in that are converting the native Australians, right? The Aboriginals, and they want them out of their land because they look at them as foreign invaders who are trying to come and convert them and corrupt them and all that. So I honestly don't know that much about it, but oh man, I'm just so tired of this thing about immigrants coming in and
actually this is very similar. So wait, where are they coming from?
They're Christians. They're coming from like the people who are in Australia. They're all the sort of the European origin and all those people.
You cannot stop people for like, oh, we don't like your ideas, we're gonna shut you down. We're gonna stop you from communicating with other people about what you believe in. I mean, that's so anti-enlightenment. Even if you don't like, I don't like the ideas that they're spreading, but that's not how you fight it. You don't fight it by forcing people to shut up, or forcing people to to not be able to communicate with a group of people. I mean, that you're creating another ideal. If you believe in the ideology that believes in that amount of authority from a government is dangerous. So you're basically creating a new monster for trying to fight another one, right?
Yeah. So Beej, I don't know about this particular example.
Well,
but
Beej is saying if it's their land and they're going there and they don't have a right to go there. Like, is it a private land? Do they own it as like private property?
No, they were the original. It's like the natives. It's like the natives are the first people there, like First Nations in Canada.
So they don't. Okay, so yeah, but that's not their land just because they were there first. It's only their land if it's their private property. Okay, and it's not their land. I don't care. I mean,
okay, Adam Smith. I mean, okay, Armin Navabi.
No,
no, I'm just kidding. So I was going to say that I don't know about this particular example, Beej, but generally throughout history, it's replete with examples of when people tried to ban things and people tried to prevent people by force from doing this or doing that, and it just never worked. it always had the opposite effect. It just doesn't work. So it's just, to take when they tried to ban the media and everything in Saudi Arabia, I grew up there, and then later the internet came in, and now they can't stop. This stuff never works. It never works. You have to fight ideas with other ideas. You can't just shut it down. Anyway.
So, no, wait. His Holiness is saying, yes, it is private land. Okay, so we don't know about the situation, but if it is private land, you don't need new law, you don't need a petition, you don't need anything. They're trespassing. If they're trespassing, you just already have laws. Like if somebody is coming to your private property without your permission, even if it's not to convert you, even if it's just to sell you candies or whatever, you could kick them out. You could call the cops on them. So you don't need any new things. It's trespassing. If it's not a private land, if you're just saying, well, I own all of this public land because my people were here first, I mean, that's not, you can't, if that was the law everywhere, nobody would be able to stay where they are. I mean, that's so stupid. Like you're calling shotgun on a land like my people were here first, so this is now ours. You can't do that with land. That's not how things work.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, what you're watching right now is history being made. So what's going to happen is one day, when Armin is very, very famous and has a lot of influence, Bernie Sanders is going to accept his endorsement, and then everyone is going to play this clip that you just heard right now of Armin railing us, and then they're going to say, Bernie, you got to reject his endorsement. That's exactly what's going to happen.
So His Holiness is saying the police are 1,000 kilometers away. So you have another issue then, okay? So you already have laws.
Okay, we're not going to, guys, we can't do a whole podcast episode on Australian Aboriginals and Christians converting them. Come on, seriously.
Okay.
All right, so Mars is asking, hey, Mars, how's it going? What's your take on where woke culture is going? It does look like more people are pushing back on the nonsense, but overall, it doesn't seem to be much better in the public eye. Oh, I have something to say about this.
Wait, say that again, sorry.
What's your take on where woke culture is going? What's happening with the woke culture?
Right.
So I agree with you. I think the tide is turning.
Yes.
And what I just alluded to, the whole Bernie thing. So the people who don't know about this, Joe Rogan came out, and Joe Rogan started talking about how someone, I think it was Barry Weiss on his show, and she said, who are you going to vote for in the primaries? And he said, I'm going to vote for Bernie Sanders. And Bernie Sanders took that, made a video ad out of it, Joe Rogan's endorsement, and he posted it in his campaign, all of his campaign's media channels. And everyone is furious because they think, Joe Rogan is transphobic or homophobic, whatever they think about him. I know that he's not like that. I've been on his show. I know that anyway. But in any case, that's what they think. So all of the woke people came out. But I actually love the fact that someone like Bernie, who people think is like the guru of the woke,
he's not.
Well,
he said one thing that was stupid, but other than that,
he said a lot of things that most of his audience.
He said like white people can't be poor. That was the dumbest thing he ever said, which is fine.
But what I'm saying is like generally all of the woke crowd, and woke, by the way, is different from liberal and left. Okay?
Yes.
Woke is actually anti-left and it's anti-liberal. So
it's anti-liberal, but not anti-left. But go on.
No, I don't want to demonize the word. I think woke is a much better word for those people than left.
Right.
So I want to take left back and just give them woke. But in any case, so when he did that, I thought it was really encouraging that this guy he wants that crowd. Like Joe Rogan has a lot of sort of centrists. He's got a lot of libertarians. He's got a lot of conservative people. The biggest
planet, right?
Yeah. So he's got. And he's accepting it, and he's not submitting to the pressure. The other example of this is that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Omar and all these people.
Woke. So she's woke.
Yeah, they are. So a lot of their fans are people who are like, they're doing the whole identity politics thing. No old white men. We want either a woman or a person of color or something like that. Even Pete Buttigieg, who's gay, but he's still a white man. They don't want him to go. They don't like this guy. Also because he's concerned, they think that he's a centrist. So what they're doing is, and most of these people, most of AOC and Ilhan Omar's followers, they think like this. Right. And then what she did and what Ilhan Omar did is they went and they endorsed the oldest, whitest man of the bunch, which is Bernie Sanders, right? And they went and they did that. So they didn't go for a woman of color. They didn't. So somewhere inside, they know that it's not identity politics that's right.
All right.
Somewhere deep inside, they know. And I think that's those
right,
are
can I
just two
answer this
examples,
as
but
well?
I like the I
So
think it's changing.
So to like we saw like Dave Chappelle came with his Netflix thing, and he started like
It's awesome.
going anti SJW like really aggressively, and he was like there are some people comedians that they go anti woke and they get canceled, but there's some of them that are just way too big to ever get canceled, right? One of them is Dave Chappelle, and people the amount of support that got them from all sides, left, right, center, showed the woke people that their time is coming to an end because they saw that this is such a big force, like something like Dave Chappelle, that they can't even try to get like they're nothing compared to how big this is. Like they're like, okay, we seem to be irrelevant. No matter how much outrage we put at this is like not something that we could touch. And then Ricky Gervais, is that how you say his last name, right?
Yeah, yeah.
When he did
Ricky Gervais, Bill Burr. I mean, they all had.
yeah, these are
He
too
did
big.
Golden Globes.
These are comedians that are too big to cancel, right? And now, so that was like showing that like, okay, it seems like we're coming at the other end of this whole like woke nonsense. And I predicted that this is going to be a short, the whole woke cult is going to be a short thing. Like it's going to be like the Red Scare that we had, right, with the McCarthy and stuff, right? It's gonna come and go. It's gonna do a lot of damage, but it's gonna be a short time. And we're gonna look back at it and be like, "Wow, that was ridiculous." Like most people are gonna look back at it and think that was extremely ridiculous. And another example is like the Bernie Sanders one that you mentioned, and not just what I loved was the accusations that Bernie was a misogynist, right? By
Elizabeth Warren.
Elizabeth Warren, and saying like, so this is so here's the thing: the left, okay, we have the left, the average left, and we have I don't know how to label these, but we have the far left, but we have people that are very lefty, but they're not far left, okay? The very lefty
They're
people.
not. Yeah, they're not.
Yeah,
They're
okay,
not
so
part of the woke.
when you
cult.
say far left, I'm not talking about people that really believe in, free healthcare and free education and economic stuff. The far left people are the crazy cultish people that think like, if you just assume that someone's gender, then you should never have a platform anywhere ever again, right? So that's the far left. The people that are very lefty, that doesn't mean they're far left. They're very lefty, like they want. They don't want socialism, but okay. So some of them want socialism, but some of them want really regulated capitalism, stuff like that. They're very, very lefty, but they're not far left. Okay, so and some of these people two groups of people are mixed together. People because they just hang out with each other a lot, right? So it seems like those people that are very, very lefty are now getting tired of people that are far left, like the woke cult, because you're going after their hero. You're calling Bernie Sanders a misogynist. So the reason why this whole woke cult we predicted is not going to last long is because they eat their own. So you're going to become so fringe when you're going after the darling hero of people that are extremely lefty and you call him a misogynist. People, you're like, who are you going to have left? People are, a lot of, people like David Pacman, and, always say like, oh yeah, we don't believe in cancel cultures. Yes, there is this elements in the left that are crazy, that want to cancel everything, that get sensitive, but they're not that big. They're just so tiny. They're so tiny. The right wants to make it like out of proportion, exaggerate how big they are, and we're like, no, they're not tiny. They're huge. Okay, they're fringe, but they're so influential.
They're influential.
They're very influential, and they're like.
Well,
no,
it's like the alt-right was, right? Like the 4chan crowd and everything did the Trump thing. They were a fringe, but they were influential enough. All the Pepe Frog people, right? So
right. So, but David Pacman keeps on. Now they go after him for saying like David Pacman says one thing wrong, and they go after him and they want to cancel him, and he's like, oh, so many people are coming from me for saying this. Oh, this element of the left that is just that is bad, and they're coming after me, and I hate to say it, but it's true. And then he goes back and like, oh, they're irrelevant. What irrelevant? Like, really, they're coming after you. And then they're going after what was her name? The trans rights activist YouTuber. Forgot her name. God damn it. Wait, I don't know. But now they're going after Bernie Sanders. And now when you call Bernie Sanders a misogynist, it's really hard for people on the left to deny that this is a big deal. Like, this is the presidential, like, we're talking about the future of United States. You're electing the most powerful person in the whole planet, and this whole woke culture is coming after that. It's trying to affect that. Like, if that's not influential, then what is influential?
It's not. They're actually not getting very far. So what's really
Yeah,
interesting
but
is that
even if it has the tiniest, okay, even if it helps, if it hurts Bernie,
it is, but
even if it has the tiniest influence on this election, that you're talking about the woke culture impacting the highest office in the land, the most powerful position in the world. So it is extremely influential.
There's definitely an influence. Okay. And the influence is there. That's
Pac-Man
why you have
denies, like people like Pac-Man deny them how influential.
Yeah, but the thing is that there is a
contrapunct. Yes, thank you. Go on.
There's a progressive wing of this party that is also has an impact in the election, and they're doing well. A lot of that is because of Bernie's campaign in 2016, and that's where a lot of the stuff came from. But in any case, it's not even in the end of it. I mean, the New York Times talked about this. It's only about 20% of Democrats that are online. And they're amazed because the one candidate that is hated most in social media is Joe Biden, right? They all hate him. They basically think that he's some kind of Republican, which he's not, obviously. But, he still continuously, at poll after poll, shows him, he's not even trying. He sucked in the debates. He did, all this stuff, but he's still resilient. I mean, Bernie is now catching up with him, but it's still tied. So that actually tells you something about liberals overall, that yes, it is a loud and it's an influential minority, but it still is a minority. That's the idea. So Muscal is asking, what do you guys do if you have down days? Now, I don't know, Moose, what you mean by down days. Do you mean days where we're not working or we have free time, or do you mean
depressed,
when we're depressed or sad? So, you can answer that, or we could probably answer both of those and save some time.
Well, I'm sad
Armin?
these days because my wife is not with me. She's in Canada, and it's very depressing.
This is so sad. You just made my ovaries tingle.
Yeah, so I'm very.
Who says a man can't have ovaries?
Anyway, I'm very depressed. When I dropped her off at the airport and I came home and it just opened the door, came to home, and she wasn't there. It just felt so empty. I just felt my heart sang, and like, how could I go through this for so many months now? It's so sad. Anyways.
So many months? How long are you guys separated for?
I'm going to see her in May in LA, so.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
Why? Why is such a long...
She went back to do her work in Canada. A lot of people are demanding that she goes back and work there because she was so popular in Canada. So she's going there.
Oh my God. Holy cow. How are you going to do this until May?
I don't know.
Are you crazy?
What? Well, I mean, even after in May, I'm going to see her for a week, and then I'm going to go back to Philippines, and she's going to go back to Canada. So it's sad.
So hold on. So she's from the Philippines, and you're from Canada.
Yes.
And now you have moved to the Philippines, and she's basically living in Canada. This is why immigration is so important, people.
Right.
This really tells you about, that's a question of identity. But oh wow, I didn't know that, Armin. I was kind of being...
We have celebrity in the live chat.
Okay. Just name... Okay, that's cool. That's great.
Drew from Genetically Modified Skeptic.
Oh, I love Drew.
Yeah, I love Drew.
Yeah, listen. Drew, go hang out with Armin in the Philippines.
Yes, come hang out with me.
I think that'll help you. It'll help his loneliness. Yeah, that's great. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. So, what about...
answer my... Okay, so Drew is asking, would either of you be up for coming to hang out with me at the Faithless Forum in Austin, Texas in summer? It's going to be huge this year. Yes.
Yes, I'm coming. But Armin, the rest of the question, what do you do when you have free time? Do you have free time?
Well, I exercise, but when I'm exercising, I have podcasts and audiobooks playing in my ear. I started playing Assassin's Creed, but when I'm playing Assassin's Creed, I also am listening to audiobooks at the same time. I used to spend time with my wife watching a movie. That's not happening anymore. I cook.
Oh my God, okay.
I cook.
Moose, you've opened up Moose Gal. You've just opened up this.
Yeah.
This is terrible. I'm feeling depressed now.
Thank you.
When I have a down thing, I usually it's music. So I play guitar. I write songs and things like that. And Alicia was asking me the other day. He's like, why don't you write nice, happy songs? Don't you feel inspired by your daughter and things like that? And I was like, no, I don't do that. If I'm feeling a happy mood, why would I sit down and write a song?
Oh, by the way,
Like,
Judy in
I'd
the
hang
live
out
chat.
with my.
Judy in the live chat is the person that is hosting us in LA,
Nice.
for the conference in LA, which we should be posting. Once I have links to it, I'm gonna be advertising it everywhere. So I'm gonna be in LA in May, and that's the reason why I get to see my wife. So thank you, Judy, for that. So Judy in the live chat is the reason why I get to see my wife. And she's saying, "Stay longer. You're both welcome here." That's so sweet. So I might actually stay. Are you sure, Judy? I might stay longer in LA so I can spend more time with her. I don't know. We'll see.
That's
Thank
great.
you, Judy.
So
Okay.
yeah, Moose is also asking, where do you see separation of church versus state going after the 2020 U.S. elections? Any ideas on how to stop religion in politics? Well, we had an episode on that we had 2 episodes on that with
Right.
Andrew Seidel. Andrew Seidel is a constitutional law attorney from the Freedom from Religion Foundation, the FFRF, and he is the author of a book called The Founding Myth, why Christian nationalism is un-American. And he has a lot of perspective on this. We talked to him just before Brett Kavanaugh got nominated to the Supreme Court, or after he'd been nominated, when they were doing the hearings. And the thing is, he actually talked about how Kavanaugh's said that this wall between religion and state is a false one. I'm paraphrasing. That's kind of what he said. And here's the reality is that religion is going to play more of a role in politics if Trump wins again, because the evangelical Christian base is a massive, massive part of his base. And that's what they want. And the Democratic Supreme Court justices are very old. The Republican ones are very young. So there's a very good chance that if Trump gets reelected by the end of his second term, you're going to have a 7-2 majority, conservative majority Supreme Court. And the conservatives are not big fans of this. They look at the whole church-state separation very, very differently. And the evangelicals are their base. So
Wait,
I
was
would
the
see
question
that.
about the U.S.? Was the question about
Yeah.
the U.S.? Okay.
Yeah, U.S. elections, 2020 U.S. elections. So
Separation.
I see that wall, if it isn't completely broken, I feel that you're going to have, prayer in schools. Trump already wants to do that. He's taking measures to push for it. Roe v. Wade is going to be gone. A lot of these things. So it's going to change a lot.
My warning to atheist activists is that, check yourself if you secretly get happy, because I know because you shouldn't, right? As atheist activists, our job
Secretly
is
get happy. Why?
Yeah, let me
Explain
tell
that
you.
first.
Because the atheist activism becomes more relevant. All right, so be careful what you're fighting for. Do you want to be relevant, or are you fighting for what's right and trying to make the world a better place? Right? Because sometimes
are there atheists? Do you know of any atheist activists who would be secretly happy? That's insane.
Yeah, no, every okay, it's not just atheist activism. Every group, like anti-racism, anti, I don't know, global, climate change, and animal rights activists, right? So you can see this, for example, in Southern Poverty Law Center. When they run out of hate crimes, they invent hate crimes. They want hate crimes, right? So I'm assuming, like, if you have atheist activists, like. So if you can see that with ex-Christians, that sometimes it seems like they're jealous that ex-Muslims have more to complain about. And they constantly have to say, like, no, Christianity is just as bad, or being in the United States as an atheist is also just as bad. Or if Republicans could get their way, they would just be, they would, like, kill gay people or something like, no, they wouldn't. But anyway, so it seems like people want to be victims, to be relevant, right? Or for their activism to become more relevant, right? So just be careful that you do not hope for that. You do not hope, like, oh my God, this is great. If more Christians become in power in the United States, then we have more to talk about, and we become more relevant, and religion becomes more of a problem, and our careers
Yeah.
will become. Don't hope for that. I asked my
This
dad.
is
My dad is a heart surgeon, right? I asked him one day. I asked him one day, if you could snap your finger, and this I was a child when I asked this. I didn't know about Thanos, but I said snap your finger, and and you wake up tomorrow and there's no heart diseases anywhere in the world. Would you do that? And he said without a second of a doubt. And to me as a child, like, okay, you wouldn't have a job, and like that's fine. I'll go be a farmer or something. He said I wouldn't. I would do it without
I
thinking.
was just gonna say that I was like, I'm a cancer pathologist,
Right.
and we never thought, like, the place where I did my fellowship in Roswell Park Cancer Institute was they had this thing said, we're gonna work until all cancer is eradicated,
Right.
and people used to joke about it. Well, then the center won't exist. None of you guys will have jobs, and we're like, of course, that's what we want to do.
Yeah,
Of
we
course,
want
I want cancer to
atheist
be rid of the world.
activism. We're doing atheist activism for a day that there's no point to be an atheist activist.
Well, then
what
that's what the problem is. And you know what? I gotta say this one thing, and I know that I have a lot of respect. I swear to God, no disrespect to the people who do activism and make their living out of it, their full-time living out of it, but that also brings in a lot of people who, if you're depending on this stuff to feed yourself and all that all the time, and if it's
Wait,
there
that's
are
you're
a
talking
lot of
about me.
people.
That's what I do. That's all I do.
No, I'm talking about the few people. There's a lot of people who do full-time activism as their living, but I'm saying there's a minority of people that do come into this, and then like CJ Whirlman is an example, right?
Right.
This guy was a hardcore like atheist activist, militant, everything, and then what happened? He's got screwed over in a plagiarism scandal, and he still had to feed his family. He had to feed his kids, and he didn't really have any other job, so he had to do what he had to do. Dave Rubin, I think, is one of those examples. There's a lot of people who do
Well,
these.
I mean,
kinds of things,
David
so.
Pacman, Kyle Kolinsky, Sargon of Akkad. There's many people like that. Joe Rogan, right?
No. I'm not talking about people who make their full-time living. I'm talking about specifically people who switched over
Oh.
to another thing because they were like a plagiarism scandal sunk CJ Whirlman,
Oh,
so
yeah, okay,
he
okay.
still had to do something. So
Wait.
there are people who do that. So I honestly, I think if there are atheist activists who are excited about a 7-2 majority Supreme Court because it's going to give them more shit to do and they'll get more funding, then I have absolutely no interest in those people.
I know.
None whatsoever.
I know, but they would never admit it. I'm just saying, check with yourself to make sure you're not one of them. Like, here's the thing,
Yeah,
Ali.
thank
Like,
you.
there are firefighters that this has been shown. There are firefighters that are hoping for fire, right? And some of them feel guilty about it.
I don't think there are a lot of firefighters who are hoping for fire. I don't know. I feel like
Well, go look
I
that
feel
up.
like this is
Go
that-
look it up. There are firefighters that wait for fire.
I think even woke culture is. We're talking about fringes. I don't know, but in any case,
Oh wait,
let's move on.
We got two celebrities. We had is Apostate Prophet here as well? Oh, we got a super chat as well. Wow, we're getting so much love today.
Thank you, thank you guys.
Nilufar Rahman is saying support for secular jihadists with a $2 super chat. Thank you. All right, go on.
Yeah, okay, Armin. Next question's for you. Really quickly though.
Okay.
How is Ali Dawa in person? So you interviewed Ali Dawa, the YouTube preacher, the British.
Actually, it's
yeah.
good. We have two. Wow, we have two celebrities in our live chat. We have genetically modified
Armin?
skeptic and Apostate Prophet.
Okay.
But This is a good Apostate Prophet. It's good that he's here because I'm gonna answer this. So Ali Dawa is very different in person than when he is online, but that's I think I'm gonna say that's because of my great communication skills in person, right? Because if you look at my videos with him, I really try to work hard on de-escalating the situation every time I talk to people that are on the other side, right? I'm not very good at de-escalating the situation with people on my side because I feel I just fire and at will and people get angry. But
you hold them to a higher standard, I think.
Well, okay, maybe. But when I talk to like Muslims or Christians, people that are extremely like on the other side, not just a little bit, or even some people that their name starts with N and they were involved in World War II that I cannot say on YouTube because YouTube is an idiot and doesn't like me mentioning them. And I talk to those groups of people or white supremacists. Can I say that? I don't know. I talk in a way that their guards come down. Okay. And you get a different reaction from them than what you get with most other ex-Muslims or atheists and stuff like that. And I think the reason why I do that is, so my experience personally with Ali Dabo was that it was very pleasant. But then right after, when you're back on Twitter, he started going back to his old methods, right? And I was very disappointed, right? But in person, face-to-face, it was a very pleasant experience. But that's because of my effort. Like, you can see that there was not much effort on his part. Like, every time he tried to, like, escalate the situation to something personal, I pulled him back in, like, let's not do this. And he was like, okay. And we went and had dinner and food, and we were like, I really try hard not to escalate the situation. And it works. Like, you say something nice. You admit to something that they're right about. And then you tell your disagreement in a way that, maybe I'm right. I don't know. What do you think? So they're like, you're not like telling them, you show them that you're not trying to crush them or defeat them in any way. Yeah. And it ends up being a pleasant experience. And they enjoy the experience. I enjoy the experience. But then you go back on Twitter and everything goes to, I can't.
Yeah, I think that just generally there's I haven't met him in person, but a lot of times what happens is that there are people, a lot of people, when you meet them in person, they're really nice people. Like, you can say that about, but you have to make sure that, okay, I know this person, they're very nice in person, that doesn't bias you in a way that you start excusing their public behavior, the public rhetoric. That's the only thing you have to be careful of. And I think you can do both.
We got two super chats. Sorry.
Amr Naqvi and Apostate Prophet. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, both of you.
So Amir is saying, will you read them?
Yeah. So Amr Naqvi, okay, you're saying this, so Amr, with your question, you did a super chat, so Armin's going to give you a small teaser. I'll check him on that. You're asking, will we see Iran become a democracy in 30 years? Now, we're going to have another episode dedicated to this, as well as the new Israel-Palestine deal. So we're not going to talk about this too much here, right? But
short
Armin,
answer,
just a very short answer.
I don't know. No one knows. And anybody that says they know, they're either lying or talking out of their you-know-what.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Apostate Prophet is saying that this is for Armin's bravery and Ali's snowflakery. So he's... So he thinks I'm a snowflake, and that's good, Okay.
I really love doing, going on having hangouts and chilling out with Apostate Prophet. It's really fun. Really fun hanging out with him. And also, I really love doing trips with Drew, who's in the live chat here as well. Go on.
I enjoy the taking sides thing a lot. We were talking about this before we came on, because I've had people tell me that they're gonna stop being patrons if Armin, for all kinds of things. And then there's people who think that I'm sure Armin gets a lot of that crap about me as well. But it is what it is. I guess we get along. Tough. Yes. So Rachel Davies, another question about the U.S. presidential election. The primary is happening. The Iowa caucuses are very soon. Do you have any thoughts on the U.S. presidential primary? Do any of the candidates stand out to you, Armin?
Okay, I'm a free market capitalist, and if I was a U.S. citizen, I would vote for Bernie Sanders. Okay, even though
by the way, all the investment bankers I know really want Bernie for some reason. I know, a lot of them don't, but
and it's not much about his policies in the United States. It's mostly about his foreign policy. Right? I don't know anybody else other than Bernie Sanders that has been so consistently right on the human rights, and on United States role in other countries. Bernie Sanders was talking about United States not supporting Saudi's war on Yemen way before any politicians was talking about it. Way before it was even being covered on the news. When it was being ignored, Bernie Sanders was the one talking about it. Bernie Sanders I thought he was like a completely non-interventionist person, so I didn't like that. But no, he wants to pull the troops out, but he does want to put pressure on people's human rights abuse, countries with human rights abuses. Maybe I don't know how he's going to do that, but he does believe in some pressure and some other methods, which is good. So I think whatever. So people are like, oh, he's going to tax more, and that's not so much taxes, so much regulations. That's against free market capitalism, and all that. Honestly, like if you even do half of the things that he promised when it comes to pulling the troops out and not spending on military and stuff, you would be able to have enough money to cover everything from saving on that, to cover everything that he wants. Even I don't. Anyways, but here's the thing: I don't count. I don't. I'm not counting the money. I'm counting the lives, right? So whatever he does in the U.S., whether that works or doesn't work, that's very insignificant to me, at least as a global citizen. I'm looking at his global impact to all humans on the planet, right?
Mm,
So
mm.
whatever impact he has on United States citizens, I think if he does actually the things that he's promising regarding to foreign policy, his impact on the planet is going to be way, 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 way more in the number of lives saved, way more than the number of people's lives saved or lost because of his, medical, because of his coverage plan or education in the United States or so. And that's why,
Yeah.
from a utilitarian perspective, I would support Bernie Sanders. And I honestly want to see if it's even possible to do the things that he's saying when it goes to pulling out. Because you always get sucked into this conspiracy or not so. I don't know how much. You always like, how much do these people, how much does the military industry, how much impact do they have? Like, is it even possible to end a lot of these wars? Is it even possible to move? Like, do Raycon and Boeing and all these companies, do they have their claws so deep into the
Yeah.
bureaucracy of the government that it's not like, even if a president comes in and says like, yeah, we're gonna do this, like they're gonna be like, yeah, sure, you go ahead and
I
try.
yeah.
I don't know how. Like, I don't think it's. I think a lot of people exaggerate their influence, and and a lot of other people underestimate their influence. Right? I don't know how much. So I want. So it would be great to see. So if Bernie Sanders, for somebody that has been so consistently wanting to get rid of the influence of the military-industrial complex in the government, if we put that guy in power and he cannot get them out, then we know that, okay, so it's at the extreme
Well,
descent, right? So I want to see. I
that's
want to
the
see how much of an
yeah.
influence the president could have. But go on.
So that's what the point is. A lot of times, I think what happens is you had Barack Obama who ran. He was started his career from Bill Ayers' living room. Bill Ayers was with what was I was going to say the Velvet Underground, but the Weather Underground. He was one of those like left wing radicals, and people were raising flags about it. And I think what happens is these guys get elected president, and then they go in for their first CIA briefing, their first NSC briefing, and suddenly they're like, "Holy shit, okay." And they realize what the reality is and what they're dealing with. And it's very easy to take a position in an op-ed or when you're doing a campaign speech, but when you actually have to sit down and take the action and make the decision, it's very different. You have to think of very real consequences. So I think a lot of those things change. I think it's amazing that Bernie Sanders has AOC, Ilhan Omar, Armin Navabi, and Joe Rogan all supporting him. That actually, and I'm serious about this. I mean, this is not, I know it's a small sample size, but that's a big net that this guy's casting. So this idea that in the
Yeah, but
general
I don't
election,
support everything he says. I'm just
no, of course not.
yeah.
Yeah, nobody supports everything that anyone says, right?
Right.
Except for
No, because he has
cult
like a
members.
cultish following that thinks that he's like a saint that could do no wrong, right?
Yeah,
So
of course. Everybody has that a little bit of that fringe. He has it more than most, yes, and so does Trump. But the thing is, I think that he is casting a wide net. He's accepting of a lot of different kinds of people, and he's inclusive in that way. And I think that that's great. Now, for me, I actually think all of the candidates that are running right now are really good. I like people who come across as authentic, who I feel are real people.
Trump
But
is
there's
authentic. Do you like him?
no, Trump is not.
He
Trump
is.
says everything he says, like, "Oh yeah, God's going to do this." God, he says that to evangelicals. He morphs into whoever he's speaking to. It's
But
bullshit. He's not.
that's him. That's his nature to just be like a
Yeah,
sponge.
his inauthenticity is
Is
his
his yeah,
authenticity. That's
exactly.
so okay. If we're going to that level,
Yeah.
that's different. But so I think that I do think that Bernie Sanders is authentic. I like them all. I'm not ideologically married to any one thing or another. I think defeating Trump is an important issue, and one big thing when it comes to that is someone who can actually get things done. Now, Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, if the U.S. was a progressive dictatorship, and you could go up and you could say, I want, Medicare for all here. I want the Green New Deal, and we're going to get it passed. The thing is that those deals, they're not going to protect anybody. They're not going to give anybody health care if they're going to cover zero people if they don't get through Congress. And the problem is that the U.S. is a democracy where at least half, plus minus, of the government is going to the legislative body is going to be Republican. Who that these people, a lot of them, they don't even want to speak to. They have them all blocked on Twitter, and you're going to have to negotiate with them to get shit through. So I actually think that Biden. I actually like Biden a lot. I like Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang is the one I'm most politically aligned with. But after that, I'm kind of Biden or Bernie. Either one of them, I think, would be
What?
great. Yeah,
They're so
this is
opposite from each other. Like
they're actually not. No, they're not. They have more in common that they don't. And by the way, they're very, very good friends too, because both of them have been in the Senate forever. But they actually get along way more than their supporters do.
I
But yeah,
disagree.
they agree. Like both of them are for universal health care. One of them thinks it should be a public-private hybrid. The other one thinks it should be 100% public. We should get rid of the private system altogether. They're both universal health care. France has a hybrid. Canada has the full public one. And France has a very, very good healthcare system, and it's universal. So these are not this idea that the Medicare for all is the only way to get single payer, is the only way to get universal healthcare. All of this stuff, these kinds of debates, to me, are just bullshit. So I'd be happy if either of them came in. I think both of them there's good arguments that both of them could potentially individually beat Trump, and I think that's a really big thing. I like Elizabeth Warren, but
I don't like
I
Biden.
feel like but Elizabeth Warren dodges questions, like when they asked her about
she's not
Hillary's
authentic.
speeches.
She's not authentic.
Yeah, she comes across very.
And she's now desperate, trying to tap into the woke weapon. I'm so happy that the woke weapon is backfiring. Like, it used to be so effective. You shoot like misogyny at somebody and you just take them
backfired
down.
on her.
No, I know, but it used to be so powerful, and she would like, "Oh my God, I'm tanking through the polls. Let's see if this woke thing works." Misogyny. Oh no, it just blew up in my face. So it's not working anymore. It's so great. I love it.
It's not working, and then I think that one thing I respect about Biden is I think he's got a really good personal story. All of his shit, the plagiarism thing, everything all the crap from the past, it's all exposed. Trump is most concerned about him, and this whole impeachment thing is happening because of. Biden.
All right, let's get to more questions, though. You tell me to keep it short.
Yeah. Anyway, you actually talked for more than I did on this right now.
Okay, sorry.
But in any case, I'm going to stop anyway. I don't want to go. But I think that both of those guys are very authentic, and I love Andrew Yang. I think that is a guy. If I was going to vote, I'd probably vote for Andrew Yang.
Yeah, like I interviewed Andrew Yang. You guys have seen my
I know.
Yeah, you guys should watch my clip.
We should post that, because now he's massive, and you've got a video of him talking about how amazing atheists are.
Right. I mean, he got a few details. Yeah, I asked him if he becomes president, what he's gonna do with atheists, and his answer was amazing. We should post that video on our channel.
We should try to. He follows both of us, I think. He follows you, right?
He follows me on his old Twitter account, but then when the campaign started, they scrapped his old Twitter account and made the campaign one. So. Oh
no, he follows. I'm pretty sure he still follows you. I think he still follows me.
Okay.
So, that's great. Okay, so. Wahid Nadafi is asking, what is your opinion on Yasir Qadhi? Yasir Qadhi is sort of an Islamic preacher in the U.S., saying that Gog and Magog are a prophecy of zombies.
Oh, that's clever. No, because you see Gog and Magog, I don't know if people know who Gog and Magog is. Do we need to tell people?
They're about as real as zombies.
No, but but it's good because there's so many prophecies that the Gog and Magog are they the Jews? Are they the like this? Are they that people? Are they that people? And you see so many predictions about who they are and where they are, and you see like Muslim YouTubers trying to investigate the Hadith and the Quran and then find them where in the map they are, and then look at the mountains here are shaped like a giant wall, so they must be here, and according to this hadith this garden is here, I don't know, so this is probably where they're hiding. I don't know, so they're like it's actually Israel, so yes, we can prove without a doubt that Gog and Magog are the evil Jews. Like, it's so interesting. But I think like to become so somebody came at, I'm just guessing by the way, like how could I reach out to the kids these days? Like, what do they like? Oh, they're watching zombie movies, and we're just gonna say Gog and Magog are zombies. Like, that's gonna get the kids following me. Yeah, it's clever.
This guy's he's a grown adult with a beard and everything. And
it's clever. It's clever.
Gog and Magog and zombies. I mean, this is how stupid religion is.
I mean,
this is it turns grown, educated men into complete morons.
It's stupid and it's clever because how many more Muslims are going to check him out when you have like an Islamic preacher talking about zombies? You're like, if you're a teenager, you want to check that out. You're like, what the hell?
This is
like
how,
you'll see. So here's the thing. Like, here's the thing. You're a hip young Muslim that watches movie, listens to music, but you don't take like Islamic scholars very seriously, and now all of a sudden they're talking about culture, stuff that you see on TV like zombies. You get curious. You might want to check it out. I mean, I think it's clever.
You should always put scholar in quotes.
Yes.
You use a word at all. If you have one of them supposedly a scholar talking about Gog and Magog and zombies.
Right.
That's
it works.
That's my opinion.
I think it works.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about it, so that means it worked. If he just, here's the thing. This is the proof. If he just said Gog and Magog are the Jews, just like they say, like, or some other predictions that they had forever, people are like, yeah, we heard this before. Now he's like zombies, and now me and you are talking about it.
Zombies are cool.
It works.
Vampires are cool.
Works,
could have been
people.
a vampire.
It works.
It's great marketing. Yes. Yeah. Okay. It's Anyway, so Zamuz is saying there are a lot of fake woke people thoughts. They're all fake. The thing with wokeness is that it's talking about basically moral perfection, and this is a very dangerous thing politically. Right? If you start when Trump comes out and everything he says that everybody has such low expectations of him, then he can do all kinds of crap and get away with it like he does. But if you start from a position like that Cenk is that how you pronounce his name? The Young Turks?
Oh,
Cenk Uyghur or whatever. Anyway, so that guy, the Young Turks. This guy was just basically all about woke, and then. He also endorsed Bernie Sanders, and Bernie Sanders was like, oh, great, Cenk endorsed me. And then old tweets of his came out where he was making fun of women or making fat jokes. I don't know what he did.
Yeah.
But then he had to retract his endorsement like a fucking foreskin. Okay,
well, I didn't swear so that the algorithm doesn't kill us, and now you swore.
Okay, whatever, we're done.
All right. Okay,
it's all right. In any case. So what he did was he had to retract his endorsement, and then Bernie's like, okay, I'm going to have to reject his endorsement because he did. This is the problem with the woke thing. They all eat themselves. Eventually, what happens is something comes out. Someone is super super woke, and they're out there and they're talking about it, and then something comes out, or someone says that this person, some old tweet or something else surfaces, and that's it. You're done, and it's an auto cannibalistic culture. That's the problem. They cannibalize themselves constantly. So anybody, if woke means that people who are completely aware of what's right and hyper moralistic, eventually that's going to crack because nobody's like that. It's unrealistic. It's stupid.
The people that weren't going after the woke culture, like the people on the left, like David Pacman and how do you say Cenk? Yeah, Cenk. They started going after woke culture when it came after them. And they didn't believe people like us when we were saying this is a big deal because we weren't as lefty as they are. So they were coming after us for
we're as woke as they are.
Yeah, I mean, as woke as
I'm going to make you adopt my.
No, okay. So here's the thing: the woke culture used to just come after the centrist and people that didn't associate themselves with left and right wing people. So a lot of people on the left were like, "We're not feeling it, so it's not a big deal." and then they run out of relevant stuff, and they went after the left. Or like, oh, then realized, okay, this is bigger than we thought. But that's how they judge it. If I'm not suffering from it, if I'm not seeing it, it must not be a big deal. So they weren't they weren't anti-social justice warrior at all until they started being hit in the crossfire. Like, all right, yeah, we're anti-social justice warriors. Like, where were you when you were not being a target? Anyways, go on.
Yeah. So in any case, let's move on.
By the way, the chat setting is censoring our celebrities. I don't know how to.
It's probably a YouTube thing.
I don't know.
In any case, yeah, you're gonna have.
Oh no, we lost Apostate Prophet because stupid YouTube is censoring his chat, and we lost a celebrity in our live chat. Apostate Prophet is saying goodnight because what he's typing stuff, and YouTube, God damn it, YouTube, like you.
If you curse YouTube, they might censor you.
I was gonna curse YouTube, but they don't let me. This is not
whatever
fair.
Okay, so another question. So 613 is asking again another question about Iran, and again we're going to have a dedicated episode on this. So we're
go
not
check
really
out
get into
Apostate
that.
Prophet's channel. Subscribe to his channel. His channel is the best on Islam. Best channel on Islamic concept.
Second best after this one. So 613 is. What do you guys think will happen with Iran and the U.S.? A missile attack seemed very strange, and there was another minor attack since then. So the thing is, this is something that we're going to get into in a separate episode. There is a lot of stuff happening in Iran. Armin Navabi is on top of it. He's got actually contacts in Iran. He's hearing stories, and he has information that actually you're not going to be seeing anywhere else. So we're gonna do that in a separate episode. But let
me just give you a warning, guys. Don't say like. Here's something that I've seen so many people do, including Kyle Clancy from Secular Talk. Well, my friend from Iran said this. Oh, I know a guy from Iran that said that. Most people from Iran don't know anything about what's happening.
You're clipping.
Just because somebody is from Iran, that doesn't mean they're right about anything. Okay? Let me give you in a way that you understand.
Like my friend from Oklahoma was telling me that there was a pedophile ring being run out of a pizza parlor.
Right. You just stole my example. I was just going to say. I was just going to tell you, okay, to Americans, for example, that are watching, or from whatever country you're. I'm just going to use America as an example, right? If you're American, okay, think about the average American, how much they know about United States politics. Do I need to say more? Okay.
Yeah.
Just because somebody is from Iran, that doesn't mean they know anything. They know anything about. They have any authority over what's happening in Iran. Okay, don't be like, oh, I had this guy from Iran say this. So that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything that they're from Iran. Okay. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. So let's do this. Azad Mufakir is asking, if we accept the premise that Islam is feminist on earth. If we accept then is Islam feminist in Jannah, in heaven, where there is a special factory to make women for man's sexual pleasure? So yeah, I think what he's saying is that for those people who say that Islam is a feminist religion, then wouldn't that extrapolate to heaven, where you're making all these women like the 72 virgins and everything for men's pleasure? And I'll just say that most of the people who actually say that Islam is feminist religion, they don't think that they don't believe that. They think all of that women stuff in heaven is misinterpreted, or they think it's all metaphor. They think it's crap. So they think it's feminist universally. So anyway,
when we were kids, we were told that women get like male sex angels, but they just made that up. Anyways, go on.
Yeah. So the Babylon Project is saying, do you think the problem is getting worse on university campuses? That seems to be the biggest concern for me. I don't think. Do you think the problem is getting worse on university campuses? That seems to be the biggest concern for me. I'd actually say I don't think you need to be too concerned about it, because I think there is a very, very robust backlash. Again, just going back to the U.S. presidential primaries, the first couple of debates, you saw the progressive people talking, the Bernies and the Warrens and the Julian Castros, and all the centrist type people were just kind of staying in their lane. And then their advisors they're like, why aren't you speaking up? And then they started speaking up, and they started getting more support. So I think overall there are more liberals, many more liberals out there who are not into all of this super political correctness. Most of them actually, factually, are not. I mean, survey after survey is showing that.
Right.
So, and there is a backlash on university campuses too. There are people who are now they're actually liberals who are actually tired of all of these riots and stuff, and we haven't really heard of anything like that happening in for a while recently. So
actually, let me tie this to Bernie Sanders again. Okay, I think
let's do it.
College and universities should just go the way of the dinosaurs, unless it's something very, very technical, like heart surgery or I don't know, machinery or computer hardware or something like that. Okay, like electronics or something like that, right? But other than that, history, philosophy, biology, web design, computer programming, all of anything that you could do by watching YouTube videos, taking classes online. The whole university world and college world around that should just collapse. Okay, there's way more efficient way of doing this than the billions of dollars that we're spending on universities. This is why I don't like the Bernie Sanders, and all the left policies on education, making it free, government funded, because they're keeping this thing that needs to die relevant, and it just needs to go. It just needs to die. This is not the most efficient way in the age of internet to pass on knowledge.
I completely disagree with that. Completely.
Okay. All right.
Okay. And I know this is something you relish when we completely disagree on something.
Yeah, good.
But the reason for that is, and this is a quote from, I don't know if it's Einstein or whoever, but he said, when they asked him, what is an education? He's like, an education is, when you go to university and you graduate and you remember a lot of things, and then eventually you forget it all. And after you forget it all, whatever's left, that is what education is, right? So with the whole whatever's left after you forget everything, it's a kind of person you become. The important thing about university, and this is why I'm really, really against homeschooling and also kind of private schools, even though I went to a private school myself as a kid, is that I'm not going to send my daughter to private school. And the reason for that is that the reason you go to college and all these things, when you go to university, people get together, they organize, they socialize, they engage, and they learn how to have relationships with people they're going to be competing with. Okay, and on a large scale, living in large communities, doing that, you work, you learn.
You can still do that with that college.
No, you don't. You don't do that if you're sitting and learning all your shit with YouTube videos.
So you don't listen. So you don't know what I'm advocating for, right? So
okay, let's explain again.
So for example, let's say you have you decide that you want to be, I don't know, a programmer, like PHP programmer or whatever, right? And you go take the courses, you meet with people, and you create meetup groups. You create parties, you create projects together, you have hacking nights, you create clubs, you build a community around it, and also you get jobs, online based on your rate, you not based on an education from a university, based on your, it's happening already, right? Like for example, right? When I need somebody to do my website, right? When I go to hire somebody online, do you think I check where their education is from, or if they have a degree, or if I check how many ratings?
You check their portfolio.
I check the rating that they got from other people that hired them, right? When I want to learn history now, right? If I go find a YouTuber that is covering this specific event that happened before World War I, right? Do you think I go do a background check whether this YouTuber has an education from Cambridge or somewhere, or if I check, I check some of the things that they say, and I do, if what they said is right, I see that they're making a lot of videos that is popular, that is being presented in a great way, and the stuff that they're saying is matches is credible. You should.
I think you're doing. I think you're making the same mistake as, like, I have a friend in Iran, whatever. You are a different person. Everybody's a different person. Okay, now, right now, one of the biggest problems that people have is people who are going into self-learning and trying to learn everything all their own and learning history. They're going out, they're finding all the sources that they want to read about, and they're not looking at anything else. There is a recent thing in, I think it was in Oxford. I can't remember what it was, but it was a very reputable place. Yale, I think. There's some course that they had about art. I can't remember the time period, but historical art. And they wanted to get rid of it, right? They wanted to get rid of that course because most of that art was made by white people. And there weren't enough people of color or women or anything that were the artists. So that and this is what the problem is. If you are of that leaning, then you're going to only seek out the information and the account of history that you want. Okay, people in Texas, they're like, okay, we don't want to. There's some people saying that in history textbooks in Texas, we don't want to talk about slavery because that's over. Like, people who want to, this is the problem, right? People go to the sources that they want. Self-education is great. I think you can do it if you want to learn how to use Photoshop, if you want to learn those things. But in a university, if you go to a university, you are supposed to meet people with different ideas. You're supposed to have arguments with them. You're supposed to discuss them and learn how to get along with them. The whole idea of civil discourse, that kind of thing that happens in universities. And it's not happening.
There are better ways of doing that. There are better ways of doing that.
Of course there are.
And also, what you do, okay, so let's say I want to get a job, but the university is forcing me to learn a whole bunch of other stuff that is not relevant to my work. Do you think that's going to make people more aware about history and philosophy and all of that? No, it's going to turn them off. I think it's going to turn them off. It turns them off. It's just going to be like, it turns them off.
There are people talk about how you need to be really, really smart to be a doctor. I'll tell you, I've been around doctors. There are doctors who absolutely know nothing about economics. They know nothing about history.
Yeah, and this is the problem. And this is so that's you prove my point because they went through the education. They went through the traditional education system.
They went through a traditional professional education system. But what you're saying is, and this is a problem with the universities.
I'm just saying you can't force people to know more about politics and history.
You don't force them.
Hold on. You need to advertise it to them, because if you just be like, oh wait, you want to get a degree in mechanics, well, we're gonna force you to also be more aware about the globe as a whole. You think that's gonna make people more aware? They're gonna hate that stuff. They're gonna hate that stuff.
In the past, they used to do that, and universities were places where these things happened.
So what's
now
the point?
They don't.
Okay.
Now they don't. University training has become more vocational. It's become more expensive. It's become more narrow tunnel vision, and that's why people don't have any knowledge about things outside their field.
The traditional
it is too expensive. I agree.
It is too expensive. I'm just saying that even if yours is slightly better than my model, mine will reach more people. Because let's say you have X number of billions of dollars to spend on education, right? Even if my method is flawed, because my method is so much cheaper, more people are going to be able to afford education compared to your model. Anyways.
Okay. Well, I'm going to end that with a quote from Taylor Wolfe over here, one of our listeners. He's saying, YouTube University leads to a world full of Tim Poles. Okay, so there we go. So we'll agree to disagree on it.
Not really, because a lot of people, actually, it's hard. People think like YouTube and Twitter and Facebook creates an echo chamber. You really have to try so hard to stay in your echo chamber if you're online. Yeah. You get exposed to a whole bunch of people on the other side. But go on.
But most people, that's us.
Yep.
Yeah, because we like engaging with it. Most people.
Yeah, but I wasn't. Okay, let me just say one thing. Okay, I was in university. Okay, I have a degree in university. There's bigger echo chambers there than it is online. Okay, so if you can maintain an echo chamber while you're online, you can maintain an echo chamber while you're in university. And another thing I will tell you, I spent I think around 8 years in university because I never wanted to leave university. I was having so much fun there. But once I left university, I can tell you, I learned more about the world, even about my own degree that I had. I learned more about everything after I learned the university compared to
Again,
when I
it's
was
not
in
about.
university. All
I
right,
don't think it's about learning. I think it's about the kind of person it makes you. Okay. Anyway,
all right.
let's go on to a question again from Musa saying Dave Chappelle caused controversy in the U.S. with this Andrew Yang endorsement. Any thoughts on it? I don't think it was very controversial.
What?
I think it was great that he endorsed him. I thought it was great.
Who?
It
Wait,
was
controversial?
cool
Who? What was controversial?
because he supported Andrew Yang. I wasn't aware of any serious controversy. I know the Joe Rogan thing and Bernie Sanders thing was very controversial, but
Yeah.
anyway. So okay, the Yasir Qadhi thing.
His
again.
Holiness is saying, sorry, Armin. Armin is spot on.
Okay, there you go.
Good.
And I got Taylor Wolf agreeing with me. So, man, why can't we swear? Why don't we just swear? Who cares about the algorithm, man? Okay, excuse me.
Who cares?
Azad Mus. Okay, Moose is saying, is Trump's administration helping or hurting secularism worldwide?
What is helping or helps?
Trump's administration, is it helping or hurting secularism worldwide? Absolutely hurting.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was easy. So Azad Mufakkar is saying, again, do the
Don't
left
say
and right...
Azad's last name. It sounds like a swear word.
Oh, you think YouTube's going to weed out his last name because his name is
No, it's going to...
Mufakkar?
Yeah, see? Now YouTube is
I should have probably said Mufakir.
Mufakir, yes.
I mean, I don't censor people's normal names now.
Right,
so anyway, do the left and right definitions apply in the same way to a country like the Islamic Republic of Pakistan?
No.
Well, in terms of values, they should if we take the woke side of it out. But this is the problem we've been talking about.
That's
for years
why
now.
I don't use the word left. Liberal.
Yeah. The conservative. I'll tell you what the conservatives are over there. When you talk about conservative people, you're talking about the government of Iran. You're talking about the government of the mullah people, the super ultra conservative religious people in Pakistan, the kind of people that they're fighting for. It's basically like Trump's base on steroids with loads of powers, the powers to even kill people and execute people and have influence to like stone people to death and all that crap. So yeah, the liberals over there, they're fighting against that kind of theocracy, just like the liberals here are fighting. But the liberals over here, for some reason, embrace the conservatives on that side, and it's just completely mind-boggling. I don't know why they do it, and we've been talking about this for a while. Luckily, there's more awareness of it, and I hope that we've contributed to some of that.
Why are you guys in the live chat apologizing for disagreeing with me? I'm okay. Don't like people are like, I'm sorry, Armin. I agree with Ali. Don't be sorry. I'm not gonna go crying. I'm like, oh, people in the live chat.
That's why we do this. That's why we do this.
It's okay, guys. You could agree with Ali and disagree with me. It's all good. It's all good. I still love you guys.
Okay. This was the Austin. Okay, I just got to Drew's question about Austin. Yes, Drew, we're coming.
We have Facebook live chat as well. We should read that. Okay, go on.
There's a lot of repeat questions. So like the guys, we'll get to if it's okay. Anyway,
we'll try to get to as many.
Rachel is asking. Fun. Okay, this is a nice one. Okay, Rachel is asking. Azad's asking a whole bunch of questions. So I gotta give this other people being here. Tell us more about Armin's wife and how you met.
Wait, I need to ask her permission to share. I'll get back to you when she tells me that it's okay to talk about her on the podcast.
That is really... I can't... You're so woke. It's beautiful. I love it. Judy is saying, what are your favorite podcasts and your favorite books? Not including your own.
Favorite podcasts and favorite books. My favorite book is Enlightenment Now by Steven Pinker. Actually, surprisingly, I like this book as well. Muhammad... No. I'm going to switch everything. My favorite book is Magic of Reality... No, not Magic of Reality. The Selfish Gene by Richard Dawkins. That's my favorite book. Favorite podcast? You go first with the podcast. I have to think about my favorite podcast.
I like, and I know this is just such a boring answer, but I really like the Joe Rogan podcast, and I like it for not just because he has. I don't necessarily like it when he has a thinkers on. I mean that stuff a lot of times I skip over because I've heard it all before. But I really like the comedians that he has on, and I like hearing long conversations, like 2-3 hour conversations with people like Whitney Cumming, people like Dave Chappelle. Has Dave Chappelle been on? Yeah, I think so. And some of the musicians, like Steven Tyler, some of those other guys. So I really like the conversations that he has with musicians and comedians because I'm a big stand-up comedy buff, and I like that. And I've also been on the podcast, so that's another.
I don't
reason.
have a favorite podcast. Most of the podcasts that I'm really addicted to are stuff that I really much disagree with. Like, so I can't call them my favorite because they constantly think stuff that I think is ridiculous. But that's why I listen to them, because I want to see my opposition. I don't really listen to people that I agree with much. So actually, is Secular Talk, but I know it's a YouTube channel and I watch him on YouTube. If he releases his content on a podcast as well, I'll just go with Secular Talk.
Who is this?
Kyle Kulinski.
Secular Talk.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like Kyle Clancy. The thing is, I haven't listened to a lot of podcasts. I don't listen to a lot of them. I generally listen to a lot of fiction. So if I listen to it's fiction audiobooks mainly. But if there's a non-fiction favorite book that I have, then
yeah, I think he's
it's
like
yeah.
No, go on.
No, I was gonna say it was. I would probably also say, oh man, you know what? I can't choose one.
No. The reason why
I can't.
The reason why I picked him is because he's the one that I'm not really see as a position, But most of the time, I'm listening to like Islamic ones, far right ones, far left ones, and I don't want to endorse any of them. Yeah.
I think on foreign policy and everything, I think you guys are pretty aligned with you and Kyle.
Except when he started talking about Iran, then it was like, what the hell's wrong with you? I'm actually going to do a video reviewing Kyle's views on Iran. I'm going to review. Yeah. I'm going to do that on Atheist Republic. So look out for that.
Right. So I was going to say my nonfiction book is Letters to a Young Contrarian from Christopher Hitchens. It's a very short book, but it completely blew me away when I read it. We'll get super chat from Mir Jalal. He's saying,
thank you.
Apostate Prophet is a bigot. Ask why did he delete his video praising Hindus? He made a video on Israel-Palestine blaming all the problem on Muslims. So I don't know him well. I wouldn't say that he's a bigot. I think Armin would disagree as well. Yeah. But I think he has certain opinions, and there's opinions we disagree on.
You could disagree with somebody without them being a bigot, and somebody could somebody could even say something that is bigoted without knowing that they're being bigoted, and therefore not being a bigot. So I'm not saying that Apostle Prophet said anything that is bigoted because I don't know what you're referring to, but I'm just careful to just go with the bigotry accusation. For example, right? I said Kyle Kulinski from Secular Talk said something bigoted, right? By thinking that Sunnis are the only terrorists, not the Shias, and his argument was like he looked at all the terrorist attacks by Sunnis, and he only looks at the terrorist attacks that is on Westerners. So he completely dismisses terrorist attacks by Shias that are on Sunni people, for example. So apparently the only terrorist attacks that count are the ones that are on Westerners. So that's why Shias are not terrorists and Sunnis are terrorists. So to me, that's bigotry. But I'm not going to...
That doesn't mean he's bigoted.
That doesn't mean Kyle is a bigot. Because it's not like intentional bigotry, right? He's not being... Like maybe if he's pointed out to him, maybe like, oh, okay, I see your point. Yeah, you're right. Okay? So I'm not... I don't know if Apostle Prophet said anything bigoted because I don't know what you're referring to. But even if he did say something, be careful with the accusations of bigotry.
Yeah. And by the way, we do disagree on this. And this is why, he said that I do snowflakery. It's because he knows that I disagree with him on this whole thing where he doesn't think that Christianity is necessarily harmless. He really focuses a lot on Islam. He doesn't have... It's not an overall thing with religion and false beliefs. They're praising the Hindus, all of this stuff, making it very Islam-centric. We disagree on that. But I don't think he's a bigot because of it. I know a lot of people who think that way. Why So Religious is asking... they say the Quran doesn't have a grammatical mistake yet in verse 11:2, Muhammad speaks as Allah.
Okay, I don't know, man. I will tell you, Quran has no grammatical mistakes at all. You know how? Because all the grammar from Arabic comes from the Quran. So it's very easy for the Quran not to have any grammatical mistakes. Is because if it breaks a law, that's just a new law, right? So if I imagine I write a book in English and all the grammar from English is based on my book. So if I call Ali, I say, Ali, she is a great person, or use a different pronoun than him. We're like, well, this is wrong. It's a he. You use a she. No, my book is the source of all grammar. So if I refer to Ali as she, this is a rule now. Okay. So, or if you use I don't know, in Arabic the rules are so stupid, right? So you have if a plural of animals, you could refer to them as singular female. What? If you have if you have a group of women and one of them is pregnant and the baby you don't know is a male or a female, you refer to all of these women at the same time as you use a male. So it's crazy. You have so many exceptions.
Yeah.
You have so many exceptions, and you have so many exceptions because the Arabic, Sarfunaf has to come from the Quran. So if the Quran breaks any rules, no, it didn't break any rule. That's just a new rule. That's how it works.
And the thing is, you're not completely right about Surah the verse 11 too as well, because there's connotationally it is presumed that verse is speaking through a messenger. It's God speaking through a messenger. So it's not really. But in any case, I think that's it. Okay, so more questions about the favorite podcasts. Mars is saying he's about halfway through Andrew Seidel's book, which again is The Founding Myth: Why Christian Nationalism is Un-American. It's a really good book. I blurbed it, and I'm very happy that my name is somewhere in the book. It's great.
Nice.
Now, Beej is asking, does wearing a mask protect a person from the coronavirus?
We heard, they say it helps a little bit, but it's mostly through the eyes, isn't it? I don't know. By the way, we're legal stuff. We're not doctors. Don't take our advice. Check with an expert. We have to be careful if we're talking about diseases and health stuff. You have to mention that, right? I see other YouTubers do that. Oh, actually, wait a minute. Ali's a doctor. What the hell?
All of these things help. If you have, whether there's viruses, whatever, if you wear surgical masks, hand washing has been shown to significantly reduce infections and infectious spread. All of these things help.
Wait, can you say that? But because you're a doctor and you're not into legal trouble?
No, I'm saying it because it's true. It actually is true. I don't care about the legal trouble. I'm actually really. I don't. Okay, what? I don't care about this algorithm. It's just ridiculous.
This is not algorithm stuff. This is people coming out and saying these people are giving expert medical advice on a podcast, and they're not. They can't. I don't know.
Who cares? I don't care. Who cares what people?
But I heard that is not. I don't know if it's true or not. Is wash your hands all the time. Don't touch your face. Mask helps a little bit, not so much. And I've seen people wearing swimming goggles because after they heard there was this American in China. He was going around wearing swimming goggles after he heard that it goes through the eyes. I don't know if that helps or not.
Oh my god!
But there was one guy. I posted picture of us in airport wearing masks, and this guy was like, "Oh, the mask doesn't help at all. Such ignorance." And there was a doctor on YouTube who was like, "Oh yeah, wear a mask. It might help." Yeah, I'm gonna go with the doctor. I don't know who's right, but such people just try to call things out even if they don't know it.
Yeah. So Apostate Prophet is his questions. I see them here. I don't know which ones got censored. This one looks like it says he's saying, "What do you think about ex-Muslims? I think they suck." Armin, what do you think about ex-Muslims? He thinks they suck.
Well, I like Apostate Prophet, and he's an ex-Muslim.
Yeah, I know, but. Yeah, he's not talking about
Is Mir Jalal an ex-Muslim? Mir Jalal seems to hate...
We've had Apostate Prophet on this podcast, and it was actually a really fun episode.
Yeah, it was really fun. And I've been on Apostate Prophet. I've been on Apostate Prophet, and that was fun as well.
Yeah, I've had this neck pain. I have to keep stretching it. I have to tell you another thing. We're actually moving this week. So I'm moving from this house to another house. Oh. So I am very underslept, and the neck thing is actually a lot worse than it usually is. So Thank you. I wish you were here. I would take that massage and I'd pay you for it right now. So thank you for the offer. Blonde Infidel. Have you watched Anthony Magnabosco's recent videos chatting to a Muslim guy? I did, and it was good. It was really, really
Let's
good.
have him
I
on.
love everything he does.
Let's have him on.
Street epistemology. Yeah, I'll actually reach out to him. Let me write that down. Hold on. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna just write his initials here so we don't waste time. In any case,
if Ali
okay,
forgets,
just,
tweet at him. Tweet at him that he forgot.
So Muaid is saying it's mostly just atheists who appeal to the victimhood narrative. Okay. What do you think about that?
It's
okay.
Where's your okay? If you have data to back that up.
Well, everybody does. It's
everybody.
Cool
I mean, I wanted to say everybody does that, but it just felt like it Captain Obvious if I said that.
Some things are just more cool to brag about. Some diseases and conditions. Like if you have a gluten allergy, you go to a party and you tell fucking everybody that you have a gluten allergy. If you have hemorrhoids, you don't. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. You know, there's if you have depression, you suffer from it. You're gonna go and I'm not saying depression isn't real. It's not an issue, but the thing is that people actually do nowadays just go out and they just speak about it. They use an excuse for everything that they're doing that's an issue. And you know, it's trendy. It's almost trendy. I'm really sorry, but it's true. People use it for those things. Now, you never hear people talking like that about, say, colon cancer, right? They're not using that, and it's just very.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I mean,
I'm talking about victimhood. I'm saying that people, everybody. The biggest privilege in the 21st century is this perpetual sense of victimhood. And yes, atheists do it. Yes, everybody does it. That doesn't mean they're not real victims. There are a lot of real victims.
Yeah. But
when you make that the entire basis of your identity, the people who I know who've been through the most adversity, like actual things, like in war zones, losing. Faisal Said al-Mutar, lost a brother, lost a friend. He was hiding for ages. He's one of the most cheerful and positive guys you're ever going to meet. Okay, Armin over here as well. I mean, these people who've come from really adverse and rough circumstances.
I'm not a victim. I usually try to highlight real victims.
They don't. People who have gone through a lot of crap, but they don't want to see themselves as victims, and they move beyond it. So this wallowing in victimhood thing, it's a characteristic of the woke culture. It's a characteristic of these Trump supporters. It's a characteristic of regressive leftists.
We have it on the atheist side. We have it on the ex-Muslim side. We have it on Muslim side. We have it on Christian side. We have it everywhere. But when you say like, oh, it's mostly atheists, you have to admit, like, I'm being pretty biased here. When I try to accuse one group, I have no data to back this up. I'm just being biased. I don't like these people. I'm just gonna try to. You must know. Like, how could you not know that you're being stupid? Like, how could you be like? You have is he being sarcastic?
This guy's saying that because he thinks atheists victimize. So he thinks of himself as a victim. That's why he's saying it.
I know, but if you say that and you don't realize that you're just against one group, so you want to exaggerate that they're more like you just are like, it just feels like that. I don't have anything to back it up. It just feels like that because I don't like this group. You have to think at some. You have to go and sit down in a corner and say this to yourself. Maybe I should stop being a moron. Just say that. Just think that. Like, tell yourself, like, I am capable of not being a moron. And I should do that starting today. Okay? Today. And do that. Go do that. All right? All right.
Yeah. Ooh, good question here. What would the world look like without...
Wait, no, we got a super chat. Go with the super chat first. Mir Jalal.
What?
Mir Jalal says, would you guys be Muslims in 14th century Arabia? I don't know, but I think I am one of the least likely people. Like, so in 14th century Arabia, there were probably atheists, like very, very few, but there was maybe a handful of them, right? There were atheists everywhere, right? And I think if I would have been probably one of the more likely ones to be an atheist. The reason why I know that, the reason why I think that, I don't know, okay? It's less likely that I would have been an atheist compared to today, but more likely that I would have been an atheist compared to other Arabs around me. The reason is because I became an atheist in an Islamic country already without knowing any other atheists, without reading any material from atheists. I became an atheist reading history that wasn't intended to try to make you an atheist, right? So the things that I studied that made me an atheist was not coming from other atheists and wasn't designed to make people atheists. And I didn't, and I was, when I became an atheist, I didn't know any other atheists. So I don't know. Okay, so the reason why you cannot know is because what makes you you is partly genetics and partly environmental. And if you put me back in 14th century Arabia, all that environmental stuff is now different. So I don't know how much of what makes me me was responsible for my genetics. I don't know how nobody can tell. So if you take all the genetics back and change the environmental, I don't know what the result would be.
You don't know. There's no way.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think that's. I would think the same way. If you the reason that I became an atheist was also sort of a natural thing. It had to do with actually reading the Quran and reading it for myself. And that thing about what that Epicurus said, that is God willing to prevent evil, and is he able to prevent evil? He can, if he's willing to and he's not preventing evil, then then he's evil, right? If he's able to prevent evil, right, or if he's just unable to prevent evil, then he's not God. And he had this whole thing. That's something that I thought of a lot before, and so that probably wouldn't have changed. What would have changed? What would have been different? And this is why I think of Isaac Newton was Christian. People say, well, Isaac Newton was Christian. Darwin was conflicted. Darwin was conflicted because he discovered that evolution was a thing, and eventually he did become very conflicted. This is Newton lived at a time before relativity, before evolution came out, before the Big Bang Theory. So at that point, I think a lot of us may have believed in God. I think I may have believed in God. I may have been sort of agnostic about it. I probably wouldn't have bought into the religion thing. But again, as Armin says, it all comes down to the environment thing.
Wahid is asking a question that we haven't been asking. Like, get his
what is it?
What's your opinion on Asadullah al-Andalus? We had him on the show. Did you hear about
I think we had Ali. Is it the same guy?
I think so. Yeah. Did you hear the smack talk video he made about ex-Muslims? No. Somebody sent that to me so I could do a review on it. But I think if you're talking about the same person, I think you're talking about. I don't think he.
I love it. I love it.
What?
Every time someone does one of these like religious guys, Islamic preachers and everything, I know Bilal Ali's done them. Some of these really prominent guys have made these videos about ex-Muslims. There are many people, Islamic preachers, who speak in Urdu or Arab, and they're talking about ex-Muslims and talking smack about them. And I think it's great. It means that they know that exists. They know it's a phenomenon. Right. They know that it's growing.
I just remember a lot of strong. I saw him listened to him on another podcast with some other Muslims that invited him, and he was just saying stuff that we were saying that we never said. He even mentioned the Secular Judges podcast. Like, there was so much straw man that I felt like puking at some point. I was like, what?
Oh no, I love it.
This is not okay. This is not like
intellectual. Even if they're...
No, I feel like this is not like just intellectual. I was like shocked. I was like, what? We never said that. It was so amazing.
But don't you expect that?
Okay, don't you expect this was on another level. Like, this was
what other level?
Like, this was like, okay, so I see some Muslims saying stuff that ex-Muslims say, and a lot of them are dumb, okay? They just didn't understand what we're saying, and they're just morons. And it's fine. You're just a moron. You just can't comprehend what I'm saying. And that's fine. It's not your fault. But then you see somebody just smarter. Like, they're just like, they get it. And they just go like and twist and turn and change what you're saying. And it's so intentional. And you just like, this is not just a disagreement. This is like intentional, this is evil. It's kind of like, you feel bad that how could somebody be this. dishonest. You know what I mean? Like, why are you doing this? Like, you know that this is not what we're saying. You know that this is not what we mean. And you are smarter than like a whole 90 like the morons that don't like just they don't get to understand what we're saying. I mean, I accept the morons. I forgive the morons. You because they just can't comprehend. But you're just being evil sometimes. You know, when you're just being so biased. And they make us seem biased even though we try so hard. We try so hard when it comes to like the Muslims or the Christians, try to like steelman them, try to like, okay, this is what the moron Muslims would say, but look, this is what the smarter Muslims would say. Like, we try to be so, which we fail many times, but we're trying to be fair to the other side.
I mean, the thing is, we should be, and we should continue doing that. They're going to continue what they're doing. But I actually don't have, I think that I completely expected, I have very, very low expectations from people like that, the Andalusi type. Not all Muslims.
I expect it, but I'm still disgusted by it. I am less disgusted by people being wrong. I'm fine with people being wrong. I'm fine with disagreements. I'm just disgusted with such bad intentions, such obviously bad intentions. You know what I mean? That's sad.
For some reason, this stuff never disgusts me. The scorpion thing, though, eating scorpions does disgust me, but Armin, it doesn't disgust Armin. So there's a little bit of a balance here. Taylor Wolf is asking, has the IDW, that's the intellectual dark web, turned into what they oppose? Have they finished with their association? And why are so many of them afraid to challenge Dave Rubin on his hypocrisy? We did a whole episode on this.
Yeah, actually. We did a whole episode on this.
And we may not have talked about that.
Just search for Just search for secular jihadists. And what did we call intellectual dark web? Should be the first video that you see.
Yeah, so I think that a lot of them genuinely think that Dave Rubin is well-intentioned. I don't think a lot of them really know everything he's done either. Yeah. So it doesn't, I feel like it's.
I think Dave Rubin should start. Okay, here's the thing. I don't care if I disagree with Dave Rubin. All the disagreements are fine. I think he should just stop taking disagreements so seriously. I think he gets personally hurt when people call him out. And
he got personally hurt when Armin did it. He was very hurt. He didn't want to. We did an episode with him. We did an interview. Armin asked him a few tough and very reasonable questions that a lot of people think. And this is like I'm talking about. And the guy just he was hurt. He was upset. And for somebody who wants to engage with people with opposing points of view, he uses his mute button a lot. Right. So, in any case, so I don't. I mean,
it's fine to use your mute button or your block button if your notification is just getting out of control and you can't just even see what Like I had to start.
I've muted conversations, but I've never.
I'm not seeing anything on my Twitter notification. I'm missing so many important stuff. I was like, okay, I need to start using some of the features of Twitter because there's so many noise here that I don't know how to even
Yeah, I don't even bother most of the time.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that I think that these guys, they start a certain way, they create an audience. I mean, you got to understand Dave Rubin's situation. Dave Rubin's situation is that he was with the network with Larry King's Aura TV network, and then he left that. He did his own thing. He funded himself completely with Patreon, and he's got a staff that he pays. He does everything. So there's an audience that comes to him that supports him. That's how he makes his living. And then eventually, what you do is he's part of that audience. He's a feature on the Tucker Carlson show. My thing is that you should just say he's this liberal guy, but I really like conservatives a lot more than my own liberals, and I don't know. I feel like
another advice I would have for Dave Rubin, if he would ever,
it's very inauthentic.
Is my first advice was to accept criticism better. Another one is don't be so biased. Like, take some stabs at the right. Okay, like what we do, right? Like if you listen to me, I call that atheist community, ex-Muslim community. I call that the people on our side that are celebrating China's treatment of Muslims. Don't be so tribal. Don't be like, oh, woke culture, left this, left that. All right, great. Go. Okay, so do you have anything to say about the problems on the right? You know, like even if it's just a little bit, just to, okay. You might say like, well, I recognize these are as more important problems, so I'm just focusing on that. Why can't I focus on this? Well, just acknowledge, like at least acknowledge it once that the problem on the other side exists, so that we know that you at least see them, right? Like do that. Just be like, you know what? Fine, the right has a homophobia problem, a transphobia problem, a climate change denial problem, a creationism problem. Yes, I see all that. They're all real. I'm not gonna go after it because I don't want to focus on that. I'm not interested in it. Let someone else go after that. I want to focus on the woke left and all that. It's fine if you want to focus on something that you're more passionate about, but just say like you know that's there. You just say that that's a real thing. It's a real problem. I hope whoever is going after that is successful. Say that.
Well, I mean, a lot of these guys, they start, then they recede into their echo chambers, and you never hear. I really haven't. I don't think these are. A lot of these people are sort of has-beens. You know, like it's just, it's a thing. You know, but they're not in it for the right reasons. Moose is asking, what is the worst movie you guys have ever seen? Armin, worst movie you've ever seen?
Transformers, the only movie I ever fell asleep in the middle of it.
I've fallen asleep. There's one movie where I walked out of the theater after the first 20 minutes because it was just so bad. And that was, it was Mr. Cabby or something. It was that dude from, who I like otherwise. I love The Big Bang Theory. It was called Dr. Cabby. So it was Kunal Nair from The Big Bang Theory, the Indian guy, and he did this movie called Dr. Cabby, and it was just so corny and so embarrassingly bad that I had to walk out of it. So that's probably the worst one. Oh, Battlefield Earth. Have you seen that?
No.
It's something L. Ron Hubbard wrote, the Scientology guy.
Is it good?
It had John Travolta in it. It is horrendous.
Oh my god, okay.
It is. You'll actually watch it to see, like, watch it out of disbelief. That's how bad it is. So anyway, but I love that question. It's a great question. Santosh is asking, what is your opinion on CAA law of India? Is saving non-Muslims who are persecuted by Muslims of Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan a crime now? I don't think that's a correct characterization. I had we actually on Secular Jihadists, we had Harris Sultan, and we had a specific episode on this,
right,
on the CAA, their Citizenship Amendment Act. You know, he had some interesting opinions that are different from yours and actually different from mine too.
Why does it have to be based on religion? Why do you, if you need to help people that are being attacked, why does it have to be based on religion? Just be like, if you have a legitimate case, we're going to help you. It just doesn't make any sense. Why does it have to be based on religion? It's so I have trouble taking. It's weird. I have trouble taking Modi seriously because you know what he did? He pulled that Armin, you know how the Islam discovered all the science stuff before. So he actually did. He did a talk in front of a whole bunch of physicians, Indian physicians and scientists. Wow.
And he said, "Look at our religion. It's amazing. Like Ganesh, the god, he has an elephant head.
Yeah.
That means in the past we must have had great plastic surgeons who did transplants of heads." And then he said, I don't know what the hell he was talking about. He's like, we had genetic scientists because, you know, this one Hindu god has this or that. The whole thing was, he actually said this crap to a room full of doctors. And since then, the only thing I thought, I was like, first of all, this guy's in charge of nuclear weapons. And second, I'm just never going to be able to take anything he says seriously, which is scary because...
Anyway. Yeah, I'm against both China and India for the way they're treating the Muslims. And I will call them out. And I know I'm losing a lot of fans and a lot of supporters that like my anti-Islam stance. And they're disappointed that I'm calling out human rights abuses against Muslims. Like, oh, Armin is now a Muslim apologist, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I don't care if we lose patronage for that. I actually do care, but it's worth it. It's worth the cost. It's worth the cost. I do care that we're gonna lose patronage for that. But I rather be on the right side of history and lose money. And hopefully some other people will be like, oh, okay, I actually appreciate your stance for human rights and all that. So you lost some patrons. I'm going to become a patron to replace them. So hopefully
And
I will
then
that. But
India, like,
if it, then we're going to lose patronage. I cannot say I don't care. I do care, but it's worth the cost. It's worth the cost to.
so
I don't want to be. I don't want to be like, just writing the anti-Muslim narrative to gain patrons. Okay,
well, so we got the point.
yeah.
Armin doesn't want to lose patrons, but his dignity is even more important to him. The authenticity is more important. So yeah, Modi and China, they're doing to the Muslims in their countries. I think they're victimizing them just like Islam victimizes Muslims. I mean, I don't see
Right.
it doesn't.
And it's
Not a
bigger
fan.
than the way Muslims are treated in the United States and in Canada and in Europe, right? So all
Yeah.
those woke people that constantly want to talk about mistreatment of Muslims in North America and Europe, please also pay attention to how Muslims are being treated in China and India. And finally, I'm seeing more Muslims talking about China because they weren't, it's still very small compared to how much they talk about Israel and United States, even though it's astronomically higher, the crimes of China against Muslims.
Muslims are in concentration camps, and that's not the
Yes.
kind of just an actual real like Hitler style concentration camps in China. They're in there. Okay, that's what's happening in China. It's happening in Myanmar. It's
Right.
happening in the world, and it's being mistreated. Like, so, yeah, we're absolutely, that's an issue.
So if you're
And
one of
it's
the
an-
Muslims that is actually paying attention to China, I appreciate the fact that you're being at least consistent instead of just always talking about Israel.
And
Israel.
I got to make another point here, and this is one I my friend Ibrahim Abdullah from Muslimish, I absolutely love. At one point, we did an event together, and someone asked him. They said that he's like, yes, I'm an ex-Muslim. He's a very, very militant ex-Muslim, and then he said, but if they start like putting Muslims in concentration camps, then I'm going to be Muslim. Obviously, he's talking about identity. He's not talking about belief.
Don't be
But
Muslim.
yeah, I know. So
You
that's
don't have to
but
be.
there-
You don't have to be joined. You don't have to
That's
join.
not the
Yeah,
point.
yeah. Okay,
Armin.
go
The
ahead.
point is that there are a lot of ex-Muslims and secular-leaning Muslims in these Muslim communities who think this way. They're going to. You're turning that away. You're actually. This does not help. Anti-Muslim bigotry does not help. Does not help
Yep.
the whole ex-Muslim movement and the secular
But that
enlightenment
shouldn't
movement
be
in the
your
Muslim
main concern. You shouldn't be like. Here's the thing. Okay, so you're right.
oh.
You're right. Let me say you're right. You're right. If
Yes,
you,
it should be less of a concern than concentration camps. I agree. Armin. That's
Yeah.
not what
Okay.
I-
Okay. So you
That's
shouldn't.
obvious. So
But
you
that's
get the
how
point,
you
yeah.
win. There are some people that are so focused on destroying Islam, like me,
Yeah.
that they're like, okay, so if victimizing Muslims hurts that cause, we shouldn't victimize Muslims because it's going to help Islam
Yeah.
grow. But I'm like, yeah, okay, that's true, and I'm going to use that narrative because so many people just want to focus on ending Islam, but. Your main criteria should be just like these are human beings that shouldn't be victimized. Like that should be the main reason. That should be the number one reason. And like you shouldn't feel like, okay, don't put Muslims in concentration camps because that's going to hurt us. That's going to help Islam. That shouldn't be your number one priority. Your number one priority should be like, we shouldn't put people in concentration camps. Come on, people.
It's
Yeah, I know.
obvious. I'm just saying.
I'm not saying you're
there-
saying that, but I'm just saying that.
No, I know. This goes back to that question about the Australian Aboriginals and the Christians and banning the Christians. Like these bans, banning people, censoring people, oppressing them, putting them in concentration camps. This does not work. You remember when Hitler tried in World War II? And I'm not trying to bring in any anti-Semitic
Yeah, I
tropes.
remember.
But look at where Jewish people are now. Right? I mean, it's not that.
what are
Of
you
course,
saying?
there's a lot of anti-Semitism.
What are you
Huh?
saying? What are you saying? Do they have?
Okay, so I forget
they
about
have
it. I
a lot
won't
of
use the Jewish example.
Do they have a lot
Whatever.
of control?
We won't have
Huh?
a discussion about anything Jewish because I'm going to be anti-Semitic. So,
Right.
and so let's
No,
talk
you're
about the
being.
Japanese.
You're
They
being.
had
Oh yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
2 nuclear bombs dropped on them. Right. Look at where they are right now. Black people were enslaved for years and years and years. Right. Look at the Billboard charts. Look at the last U.S. president. Look at it's just it does not work. It's stupid. You have the one country. What is the sanest democratic country in the world? Like secular Muslim majority country in the world. The only one right now. It's not Turkey anymore. It's not Indonesia anymore. It's Tunisia.
Oh.
It's Tunisia. Okay. And what happened with Tunisia? Was there any American intervention there where they tried to, do something with them? Was it anything? No, it all happened within them. They did it themselves.
Well, it didn't
Right?
happen
So
with Germany with that U.S. intervention.
it's because we're stopping something. And okay, I'm talking about the way that these things happen, right? Generally, but the Nazism came out of Germany, right? It
Yeah,
came
but
up and
it
then that
didn't.
happened
Nazism
independently.
was defeated because of U.S. intervention.
Yes, definitely. Sometimes you need to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody's saying that they have to, but it
But it
started
wasn't their
there.
intention. Okay, go
It
on.
was a reaction. The U.S. intervention was a reaction
Right.
to it. Okay, this is we're not talking about that. It's just when you ban people and when you oppress them, right? It
Yeah.
just does not work. It's stupid. Judy was asking your thoughts on China's persecution of the Uyghurs. I think we just answered that.
Hey, well, but he's.
Azad,
I mean, come on, guys. Okay, so here's the thing. What do you think about locking people up for what they believe? Let me think about that. That's a hard question. It's wrong.
yeah.
It's wrong. I mean, what do we? Why is that? Why is there? Why do we have two camps in our atheist community on this? Why is it some people supporting this? Like, I don't understand. This is the easiest question. Go on. Sorry.
Yeah, you don't ban, you don't bomb building walls, all this kind. It's stupid. Anyway, and that's common sense. It just shouldn't matter what your political leaning is. Azad's asking, what is your favorite movie of 2019 and of all time? Damn.
2019 should be the Joker. I know a lot of people hate that.
I haven't seen it yet.
I
haven't
liked
seen
it.
it yet.
I think I like movies that go beyond just being a movie. You know what I mean? I like movies that make it to the news, start conversations, create, and get involved in politics, get people like, it become like change the culture, change that. The movie Joker. So, for example, look at the first it's like the movie Joker is like a sign of an end of an era, right? Because you started, with Reagan era, right? We started with that. It was a reaction to, the heavy-handed government not working any as much, and people becoming, the whole idea of free market capitalism becoming more popular and all of that, and people, putting more trust in, companies and the free market and less in the government. And that worked for a while and was doing very well. And then it started going less and less and less. You had so many stuff that the government did that people didn't like. And then you had the financial crisis. And you had so many wars that, people didn't like. And you had people were losing trust in both government and corporations. And
don't give away the whole movie.
No. I'm talking about the general trend, right? And then, if you look at, and people are start hating the rich, start hating the, capitalism. And if you look at the first, Joker movies that became very popular, who was the hero? Who was the hero of that movie? You had, a billionaire. The billionaire was the hero, right? And this antisocial weird guy, he's the evil guy, right? He's the evil guy, and he's like the Batman is the billionaire, and he's the hero. He comes and saves the day. And then now, when you look at the Joker movie, Batman is not even there, and you could argue that Joker, the rich people don't seem to be the one that the audience should not be able to relate to, right? Like Batman's father. He's the guy that says stuff that is people can't relate to. You start the movie doesn't make you want to kill the rich, but you kind of see why people would think like that. The movie doesn't really make Joker like the hero, but he could kind of be he's relatable. You would be forgiven if you could mistake him for the hero. He kills a whole bunch of Wall Street rich guys in the subway, and you kind of feel okay, maybe they deserved it. You kind of what you're saying that random killing people in subway is fair. I don't know. So it seems like if that becomes, it's a sad movie. It has a morbid. It has a really pessimistic view of where we are now. And when that becomes popular, rather than like a rich superhero, a billionaire coming in and saving the society. That used to be popular, and now you have the weird guy, this antisocial guy. He's more relatable, and the billionaire class, they're not relatable. You could see that this is an end of an era. We're starting a new phase. It says a lot about our culture, I think. So it's not just a movie that is interesting. Is what the movie says about our society that is even more interesting than even the movie itself. So that's pretty cool to me. The greatest... Go on.
No, I was saying I haven't seen it yet, but I actually haven't seen a lot of movies this year. I've been watching mostly like TV shows, but my favorite movie of all time. Oh man, one of the best movies is Old School. Have you seen Old School?
No.
It's about when they do the whole frat party thing. It's with Luke Wilson. Anyway, yeah, I the first time, like, other friend I met, she asked me favorite movies. I said, well, Old School is slightly better than Schindler's List, which I still think it is, even though Schindler's List is a great movie. Anyway, His Holiness.
Wait, I didn't answer the greatest movie of all time.
Oh,
I'm just going to name it. The Truman Show. It impacted the way...
Yeah. You know what? I got to tell you something about The Truman Show. When I was 11 or 12 years old, I had that idea. And then I used to go around, I used to pretend, I used to like go into school and pretend that everybody around me was acting and I was the only one. It's a nice way of being self-centered. I used to and then I used to wonder, I'm like, that would be a really cool movie. And then when The Truman Show, and I actually have evidence for it, I don't know how much I can bring it out, but my ex at the time, the girl I was dating that time, when The Truman Show came out, I told her about my idea before, and then 2 years later, The Truman Show came out. And she's like, holy shit, this was your idea.
You swore again. So, this video is not going to be shared
I mean, I don't care. Whatever.
Guys, because we swear and this video is not going to get recommended by YouTube's algorithm, please share it. Share it now. Now, I'm looking at you right now. Share this video. Why haven't you shared it? Wait, go on. Sorry.
Just go on iTunes and leave us a review.
No, share our videos.
His Holiness. Okay, we only have 6 minutes left. His Holiness is saying, first time here and I love the show. Thank you. I am from an ex-Catholic background, so it's good to hear from ex-Muslims to get a different perspective. Yes, we hear a lot from ex-Catholics, ex-Mormons, ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, and just so we hear that a lot. So thank you so much. That means a lot. Babylon is saying, have you guys thought about selling merchandise? I'd love to wear a secular jihadist shirt. Armin, do we have that? Didn't we used to have secular jihadist shirts at one point?
We did, but we need a new design based on our new logo.
So let's do it. Let's get that going. It's because it's a really good... I'd wear it anyway.
Yeah, I would wear it.
You know what I would call
our
it?
Logo is cool.
Instead of saying secular jihadists, I should just say secular jihadists. So you wear it.
Yes, like so that you are one of the jihadists. Yeah.
Of course you are. Everybody is.
Oh, yeah. And we should get people to send us pictures of us with their shirts.
Taylor Wolf is saying, speaking of progressive dictatorships, one of you need to have a convo with Kyle Kalinske, who's absolutely lost his mind, was on full display during the recent situation with Iran. I think I'm going to make a video.
I'm going to make a video on that, and I'm going to put it on Atheist Republic. How about that?
Yeah, I really think that Kyle should speak with Armin.
And then go tweet it at him and be like, "Hey, Kyle, you're being a moron. Watch this so you can stop being a moron. You're welcome."
Yeah. Why So Religious is saying Trump is killing it. New trade deal just signed today. So it's not a bad trade deal. Gotta say,
what?
The USMCA.
Say that again?
USMCA, the update of his new NAFTA. He said it was going to be a new NAFTA. It's not really a new NAFTA.
Yeah.
It's just a couple of changes, and it kind of works for everybody. It's something that I think the Democrats like, the Republicans like. So
I know a lot of people on the left will hate me for saying this, but I like NAFTA. So I'm glad that Trump, with all the promises...
No, the USMCA, this is a good deal. I know. So this is a good deal.
So it's basically the same with minor changes. That's what it is, right?
Yeah, with minor changes.
So I'm glad, because he came in and said, like, he's going to destroy it. I was like, oh no, this is going to be so bad. And he came in like, oh, I'm going to tweak this. Like, oh, look, we changed it. Like, okay, fine, that's good. So I'm glad that he didn't follow his promise. I'm glad.
Yeah. So, based on that, Why So Religious, yes, that is it. He did do a pretty good job on that.
Now, he did a good job by failing to follow on his promise. By not keeping his promise, he did a good job. But go on now.
Yeah. And, aside from the whole fact that he's a psychopathic demagogue, I mean, that's a different thing. We'll talk about that some other time. Then there's this. Okay, Asadullah Andalusi. We already went through that. Okay, let's take. Okay, you know what? Let's take. Let's take two more.
Two more. Okay.
Let's take two more. A little bit of an encore. I'm off because we're moving, so that's good. I can do that. This is when Apostate Prophet left. Oh my God, Armin. There's a lot of questions. Okay, is there one right in front of you that you can read out?
No, I'm down because I scrolled all the way down.
Okay, guys, give me 1 second. I'm looking for a question mark.
I found one. Do call out Hindu. Okay, keep up with the good work. Do call out Hindu nationalists who use your work for making a statement against Muslims in India. Will you come to India, Armin? Yes, I'm coming to India. I'm not going to tell you when. Okay, this is a good question, okay? So I ask people on Facebook, is it safe for me to come to India? And you get a lot of offended Indians that say, like, of course it's safe. What are you thinking? This is not Pakistan. We have atheists here. We have ex-Muslims here. I'm like, okay. You're saying we have atheists in India. You're saying we have ex-Muslims in India. You didn't understand my questions, okay? Do you have ex-Muslims in India that have videos, public videos of them on YouTube burning the Quran? Do you have ex-Muslims in India that went outside in public with an Allah is gay sign? Do you have ex-Muslims in India that started the world's biggest atheist group and that has called out Hindu nationalism and Hindutva and all that nonsense? Just because the average atheist and ex-Muslim is safe in India, that doesn't mean I'm safe in India, okay? So we're like, oh, Armin thinks India is like Iran, or like, no, my situation is not the same as every other atheist, okay? I mean, you have to be, it's easier in India to find somebody to kill me than it is in Canada. You have to admit that, okay? And there's a whole bunch of Muslim extremists in India. And if I'm in India, it's going to be easier to find me. Muslim extremists are not just going to go find every random atheist in India to hunt them down and kill them. But they might go out of their way to find me, all right? So...
yeah. If you're thought of as a Muslim, then there's enough Hindu extremists that will also,
right?
Especially if you eat beef. I hope you don't like beef.
I love beef.
Just avoid beef when you're in India. I am actually
India is the number one. India is the number one exporter of beef. It's the greatest hypocrisy of all time.
Right.
But
because they don't eat it.
I am going to India.
But I gotta say one thing about this. I'm actually Indian Pakistani. That's why I like saying I'm Indian Pakistani. What is an Italian American? An Italian American is somebody who's born in America, who's American, whose parents were Italian. My parents were both born in India. They were both Indian. My dad's from Allahabad, which is now called Pragyaraj or some other bullshit like that. I can't remember what they changed the name. My mom she was born in Mathura, which is, and she grew up in Delhi. So they are both Indian. My parents are Indian. I was born in Pakistan, so technically I'm Indian Pakistani, and I'm Indian Pakistani Canadian. Now, there's this whole debate going on about what is an Indian, which I think is a really, really dumb debate, because I don't think India is about that, and hopefully that's going to change. Now, I asked them for one last question.
It's a short one by Azad. He's saying, which Avenger would you be if given an option?
I don't know anything about the Avengers, but I feel like...
I want to be Thor.
Who are the Avengers? I've never seen any Avengers movies. I should, right? Should I? They're great?
They're very visually stimulating. And they're not as boring as like Transformers. They're just like metal crashing on metal for like 2 hours. Like, what the hell? Here, let me see. You haven't seen any of the Avengers movie? They're good. They're good. They're better than most people that hate comics make it seem like. Yeah,
I just want to be a good-looking one. I think I just want to be whoever the good-looking Avenger is.
So which one? I think Thor doesn't. Thor is a god, so he never dies, right? I'll pick the one that never dies.
Really?
Also, I want to be able to visit Valhalla. Wait, that whole place blew up, didn't it? Shit.
I have no idea what
All
this
right.
is about.
No,
But I
okay.
just want to be the good-looking one. I think that's really, really
Thor.
important.
Actually, he
I
gained
would
a lot of weight, so I
sacrifice
don't know if he's still good looking.
who?
But
Thor?
yeah, Thor
Yeah,
became
no.
chubby.
Who's Robert Downey Jr.? Is he Iron Man?
Yes. No, that's not
Okay.
good. He died, so you'll die as well if you pick him.
You just did you just spoil the entire 13
Yes.
superhero series for
Oh,
everybody
oh yeah.
who's never seen it before? Oh, okay,
Sorry.
great. Thank you.
Don't
Now I
watch
don't
it.
have any reason to watch it. In any case,
No, but
Ali would be
Thor
a good
because
host.
he
Yeah,
never dies.
I just
I
want to
think.
be anybody who's good looking. I would trade 30 IQ points to be a good looking, muscular guy. So that's the whole thing. And the
Would
reason for
you?
that, no, it's good. That's I think that's very important. I was my my wife once said to me, she's like, I was making a joke about being good looking. It's like, no, but it's okay. I really like you for your personality. I was like, oh, thanks.
That
That's great. What a great thing to say. Like, even after knowing me for so long, you still don't think I'm good
well,
looking. It's
if
great.
you're
Personality.
worried about that, you don't have to
I'd
trade.
rather be good looking and be an asshole. You know?
Well, you don't have to trade IQs or being an asshole. You could just go to work out. You're a doctor.
Yeah. Oh, come on. Who the fuck's... I'm not going to work out. Seriously. I'm talking about doing it with that. No, I am going to work out. So this is one of my New Year's resolutions. I got the thing because I have a kid, and since I had the kid, I can't go to the... scheduling is a nightmare. So I'm doing it at home.
What
and
do
we're
you
moving
get?
to a new place. I got those Bowflex dumbbells. So Sohail, our previous guest, Emmett,
No, you
he
should do
told me to
more
get them.
cardio. You should do cardio.
No, actually, I found out people have different
It's
genetic
wrong.
predispositions.
Oh.
Yeah, so what works for me, in terms of what would technically work for me, is high intensity weight training type stuff. So
I disagree
in
with
any
that, but it's
case,
fine. It's fine.
yeah.
You do a lot more.
All
with
right,
cardio.
guys.
Okay. Buy a bike.
Well, let's
Buy
see.
a bike. That's my advice to you. Buy a bike.
I can't do that because then I got to tell you a story. Look, so this one thing happened, and this is why I'm scared of riding stationary bikes. Okay. Once I went to one of my friend's fathers died, right? So we went to his funeral, their house, and everything. And everybody's reading the Quran. You know how the Quran Kwani, or that's what they call it there. This is in Pakistan, and they had everybody, all the grown-ups were sitting on the chairs, the older people, because there's an age hierarchy, and all of us were sitting on the ground. I was sitting cross-legged on the ground and reading the Quran. And while I was reading the Quran cross-legged, my dick went numb. Have you ever had that happen?
No.
You know how your foot falls asleep? Your foot falls asleep, or your arm falls asleep when you're sleeping? So my dick fell asleep. It was like I didn't have a dick. Like, have you ever felt that way?
No.
I realized that the way I was sitting,
because
it was a lawn with a bed sheet on it.
Were
so
you
was sitting on the bed sheet.
This sounds like a curse.
And it was uneven. So it hit something like it kind of nubbed, hit the pudendal nerve. I don't know what it did, but I was sitting there. I was like, holy shit, this has never happened to me before. My dick's fallen asleep. What? There's no blood supply there. What is going to happen? Am I going to be dickless for the... And I was in med school, so I was trying to think of, what's going on. So I'm reaching out underneath the Quran thing I'm holding, the chapter of the Quran, and I'm trying to... Because there's like people all around me mourning like the death of our friend's father, and I'm sitting and I'm trying to like adjust it or touch it or move it. I'm like, something. And I can't be grabbing my crotch in the middle of a fucking funeral while I'm reading a Quran chapter, right? So I'm trying to use the Quran to hide my, whatever I'm doing down there and trying to wake it up.
Why have you not told this story before? This is an amazing story.
And this is one of those things where you can't get up because you'd be in the middle, everybody's quiet, and then I suddenly get up. And when I get up, I'd be making those weird leg thigh things when I'm walking. I couldn't do anything, and I was terrified.
Story.
Okay, so that never happened to me again, except once when I was riding an exercise bike. Okay, I was riding. It didn't happen completely, but I started feeling. I was like, "Oh my god, my dick's disappearing again!" And then at the moment that happened, I just jumped off of it. I jumped off the exercise bike, and I just shook the fucking thing back to life. And this is definitely okay. I guess the algorithm.
Okay, this algorithm. Give up. We give up on this video. Yeah, share. Please share our video because this video is done for.
Yeah.
But I never thought I would be hearing you say, "Oh my god, my dick is disappearing."
It has to be. The exercise bike has to have a seat that is like a couch. It has to be. There has to be a couch on top of it
Okay, don't
that
buy
I
a
sit
bike.
on. I am not going to sit on one of those like the hard seats that poke your pudendal nerve. Beej is saying there's nothing wrong with being dickless. Yes, there is, Beej. Come on.
I disagree.
You know what? Maybe if this happened during the woke culture thing, I'd have been like, hey, this is amazing. I don't have a dick. I know what it feels like now.
Wait, she's saying that because she's talking about women.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's,
or trans men.
oh, whoa, so
Some trans men.
No, okay. No, but yeah, but for okay, fine. If you are not a man, then it's not a problem. But for men, this is the greatest tragedy of all. If you become dickless,
It was a tough thing. It was very, very disorienting. It was very disorienting.
Mark's saying, please tell me this isn't going to be in the final cut of this episode. It will be, because when we release the audio version of this, the podcast doesn't have algorithm and all of that. It just releases it to everybody. This is why podcasts are superior than YouTube, right? There's no algorithm. It's just everybody.
I should have in the middle of that story. I should have endorsed Bernie Sanders.
No,
see
the podcast. Everybody that subscribes to a podcast, they just get what they want. They're like, "Hey, podcast app, I want this." And podcast app are like, "Oh, you want this? Here it is. You ask for it, we'll show it to you." But you go on YouTube, on Facebook, you're like, "Hey, Facebook, I like these guys. Show them to me." YouTube is like, "No, we don't think so. You say you like this, but we think you like this." Like, no, YouTube, that's what I like. I'm telling you what I like. Just show me what I like. Anyways.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a tough thing. So, in any case, don't sit on rough, rocky ground, uneven ground, and read the Quran if you're a guy. Or actually, if you're a guy, like, I don't know, maybe there's something with my anatomy. I don't know what it is, but whatever. Guys, thank you. Right. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you, Mars, Beach, Khalid, Aaron.
What do you think?
Larry?
Do you guys think we should do one of these Q&As every month? We do around an average of we do around 5 episodes a month. So we usually have guests. We do some live streams. We do a good mix. So maybe 1 out of the 5 episodes can be one of these Q&A. If you wanted every month, if you wanted every 2 months, that's good. I promise. Next time we're gonna have a dick story from Armin. So
I do have a good one, actually.
You have a good dick story? Save it. Hold on to that. Okay, just don't bring it out right now. I mean, don't. God,
don't bring it out. Right, I won't bring it out right now.
I don't know what to say. I can't say
don't show it.
It's so hard. It's really hard. It's really hard. Jesus fucking Christ.
All right, guys.
I can't stop this.
All right, okay, so let's just go before it gets any worse. All right.
Okay.
Love you guys.
All right, guys.
Love you for everything.
Have a great time.
Thank you to our patrons.
See you next time.
And thank you for patrons for supporting the show. And if you're not a patron, be a patron. If you're not a subscriber, be a subscriber. If you haven't shared the video, share the video. All right, love you guys. Bye.